As someone who has T. Higgins on their fantasy football team, the only thing that I can say is thank you, God. Thank you for at least giving me a little bit of hope. Now, maybe I'm going to be delusional with this hope. We will see. But obviously, the reason we have hope now is that Mr. Joe Flacco was traded to the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, do not get me wrong. Cincinnati is not a good offense after this move. Don't get me wrong. You should not value Jamar Chase as the number one player in fantasy football. You shouldn't go back and get excited about taking T. Higgins in the middle of the third round like I did in my fantasy football draft. Like, those are still bad picks. Those are still things that we want to be avoiding and we want to be upset with ourselves over. But it's a hell of a lot better than what you had with Jake Browning. Jake Browning looked like legit the worst quarterback in the NFL, minus maybe Cooper Rush. The still issue that you have with Cincy is the fact that the offensive line is possibly the worst O-line in the league. It is absolutely garbage. Like, Chase Brown can't get a yard past the offensive line without getting hit by a defender. Like, if you look at the updated projections that you have on Underdog Fantasy for this week, you will see that you have Chase Brown higher lower 45.5 rushing yards. T. Higgins higher lower 41.5 receiving yards. Jamar Chase higher lower 63.5 receiving yards. So you aren't to a point yet where we can say like, oh, okay, well, we've turned the corner. We're all good. Nothing to worry about here. No, we're not there. Okay, like let me show you exactly where I have them ranked on the site at this point, because obviously we've already updated our rankings. I updated them literally the second that this news broke. So I'm sure if you remember the site, you already saw this. But regardless, I personally have moved Jamar Chase from wide receiver 6 in my rankings to wide receiver 6 in my rankings. He's still wide receiver 6 for me, but I moved him from being a B tier wide receiver up to being an A tier wide receiver. So he jumps up one spot. And then going over and looking at T. Higgins, I had T. Higgins down at like wide receiver 40. I moved T. Higgins up to wide receiver 36. I'm going to have a tough decision on what I'm doing this next week, whether I'm going to start Stephon Diggs or T. Higgins now that he has Flacco. And I already kind of know the decision that I'm leaning towards. I'm probably going to start Stephon Diggs myself. So like, I don't necessarily want to tell you like, oh, okay, you absolutely have to completely reevaluate how you're looking at these Bengals. I just view Jamar Chase as a mid-wide receiver 1, how I had him previously. Instead of viewing T. Higgins as an unstartable player, I'll be more likely to put him into my flex spot going into the future. But yeah, it's at least better. There is a little bit of hope that we have. And then with Chase Brown, I don't necessarily know how much he is positively impacted by this, because again, the main issue that you have with Chase Brown anyway is the fact that you actually just have a garbage offensive line. So we will see. Now, it does look like we already hit 100 likes in the stream, and you already know every time we hit 100 likes, we got to send out free questions to people in the live chat. So if you haven't already, if you want to get free questions, just to qualify, drop a like, and drop your flockfantasy.com username in the chat, and we'll go ahead and send those out. And I also want to remind you, of course, that if you wanted to take advantage of any of these offers over there on Underdog Fantasy, you can go and get Josh Jacobs higher, lower 77.5 rushing yards if you want. If you go and use promo code FLOCK on Underdog, you will get the best promo that I've seen Underdog do in the 5 years that I've been with them, which is after you play your first $5, you'll get $100 added to your account. And on top of that, you'll get a free Jalen Hurts pick, higher, lower, half a total yard for the Thursday night game. Underdog Fantasy is available in almost every single state. The link's in the description. It's in the live chat. You'll also get free questions if you sign up to Underdog with code FLOCK that you can ask in these streams. And my birthday is, I want to say on Friday, or maybe it's Saturday. But regardless, my birthday's in a couple days. If you want to get me a birthday present, that'd be the best thing that you could do. But let's go ahead and let's send out some of these free questions. Let's send this first one over to the Oracle. The Oracle just found you on the site and just sent you over a free trade question. Really appreciate you hanging out with us in this stream. And I'm sure we're about to hit 200 likes on the stream. So we'll do our second giveaway right now, but then we won't do our next one until we hit 300 likes because we got to rip some questions. This one's going to be for Jalen Ure, something like that. Let me make sure I'm spelling this correctly. I can't find you on the site, my friend. I don't know if you used code FLOCK when you signed up. I can only find you if you use code FLOCK on my account page. Let's look up Rick Bob 1. Just found you and just sent you over a free trade. Really appreciate you hanging out with us in this live stream. But is there anything else to discuss before we jump into it? I will say, while I have your attention here, if you are a paid member of the site, I got confirmation. I got the tracking labels. I have 2,500 hats being shipped to my house right now. So they should get here later this week. Last I checked, this is this morning. While this says 5,000 views, it's just 5,000 people have seen it. It's not 5,000 people have filled out the form. When I checked this morning, only 1,100 people have filled out this form to get a free hat. So if you're a paid member of the site, for the love of God, go fill out this form. It's on the post page. Just give me your address and give me your email address so I can confirm that you're a paid member of the site. And then tell me what hat you want so I can send you a free hat. I already bought all the hats. I'm paying to send them all out to y'all again. I owe everybody here a massive, massive thank you. 2025 has been by far and away our best year on YouTube, by far and away our best year on flockfantasy.com. I want to do anything that I can to get back to y'all, and the way that I thought would be best is shipping y'all a bunch of free stuff. Okay. Now, Dweck will be our next one. It's trading Charbonnet and Igbuka for Judkins and Smith. Oh, this is a close call. So left over at wide receiver, we would have Tet, Sutton, Brian Thomas, Higgins. And our running back 2 right now is Trevion Henderson. So realistically, I am okay with you doing this. Now, of course, we ranked Igbuka as, I want to say, our wide receiver 6 in our rankings last week. And I think I already put up my rankings for this week, and Igbuka's wide receiver 5. So if Mike Evans was going to be out for the rest of the season, then you could say, oh, okay, clearly you'd rather have Igbuka here. If Chris Godwin was going to be a 0 for the rest of the season, you'd clearly rather have Igbuka. But if you are desperate for a running back and eventually those veteran wide receivers are going to be something here in Tampa, I understand you doing this. I would assume you could get more value from Igbuka right now, but actually we got to log out and log back in to make sure that we can keep ripping these. And dear God, there's no way we've allowed that. At the beginning of this stream, was that screenshot of the box score from yesterday on the screen? If so, God, that's embarrassing. Okay. Now, let's pull that back up. But again, like I said, I think you could probably get more value out of Igbuka at this point. But I am okay on a team that desperately needs running back like yours to go ahead and make that play. Okay. Come on. Refresh for us. Let's get this going, site. Okay. And let's move this over to our next one. This is going to be 55 Mike trading Walker, Chase Brown, Calvin Ridley for Kamara and Rashee Rice. I think that this is the Rashee Rice side, and I don't even think it's remotely close. Right now, Kenneth Walker does not look startable with the usage that Zach Charbonnet has in this offense. Parlay Degen says, hey, Mason, at what point do we lose faith in Jameson Williams? Seems like he is becoming a deep threat decoy. Thanks. I appreciate you, my friend, but this is who he's always been. Like Jameson Williams, even if you go back to his time at Alabama, he wasn't like a monster target hog. He was a deep threat, super efficient player. Like, you go through and you look at Jameson Williams through his NFL career. Obviously, you can ignore his rookie season entirely coming off significant injury, but he averaged 2 receptions a game in 2023, 3.9 receptions a game in 2024, and 2.2 receptions a game in 2025. So he's not too far off of where he was last year. Obviously, we haven't had the really big spikes yet with him. I think that those are coming. Don't get me wrong. But like, J-Mo's a boom bust flex option and nothing more. So I don't think it's like going to be much worse when we look back at the end of this season in terms of points per game in comparison to where he was in 2024. But he just has had a couple bad games in a row, but that's always going to be the case when you're looking at a player like him. Now, Cactus Dan trading Sharp Ramondre for Godwin and Cedric Tillman. Who do we have at running back? We have Bucky, Gibbs, Chase Brown, Rashad White. Wide receiver, we effectively have no wide receiver 3, so I'm okay if you wanted to make this move. Cedric Tillman's a 0. I would assume you could get a different wide receiver than Cedric Tillman, though. I tried to get a better price, to be honest. Okay. Now, Just Easy says, if I were to move Chase and Lamb, is it valid too? Chase and Lamb for me are ranked back-to-back. It's kind of personal preference for you. Jacobs to Josh Allen. I have both of them on my teams. I'd rather have Jacobs. Fields versus Derrick Henry. Give me Derrick Henry. For me, I think that this is a completely fine deal. Obviously, points per game wise, Justin Fields has been right there with Josh Allen, if not better than Josh Allen in the 3 games that he's played fully. So the ceiling with Justin Fields is just as good as what you're getting with the ceiling of Josh Allen. But I think the floor of Josh Allen is just a completely different level. So I'm going to go with the Allen, Derrick Henry, and CeeDee Lamb side. Now, Chef Rye trading Puka, and you automatically lose. The Puka side here is the winner, and it's not even remotely close. Puka Nacua is the wide receiver 1, averaging like 26 points per game. And the wide receiver 2, Amon-Ra St. Brown's averaging like 22. Puka Nacua, Christian McCaffrey are 2 players that are in a completely different tier than anybody else in fantasy. The only way that you would trade them is if you're getting back like 2 round 1 talents together. So yeah, this is Puka and it's not even really close. Now, Zed Mango trading Pickens, Kincaid for Trey McBride. Wide receiver, we have Diggs, Amon-Ra St. Brown, London. It's a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex format. Yes, I would do this, as it doesn't seem like you're going to have CeeDee Lamb out of this Dallas Cowboys offense for too much longer. Now, Akam trading Rashad White, Michael Carter, Jacoby Myers for Rashee Rice. I would take Rashee Rice here. Actually, real quick, it's a 14-team league. We're going to have to look at it. We have the 2 anchors with Taylor and Achane. Yeah, you have a good team, so I think you can go Rashee Rice. I understand why this trade is getting made, though. Like, I could see a team decimated by injuries needing to take the Michael Carter, Jacoby Myers side of it in a 14-team format where the waiver wire options are just so thin. Okay. Now, Park says, how can I get the free questions after signing up on Underdog? It's in the description of the live stream, but essentially all you got to do is whatever email address that you have or that you signed up to Underdog Fantasy with, just have an account on flockfantasy.com with the same email address. And then every morning, Underdog sends me the list of emails that signed up to Underdog Fantasy with promo code FLOCK. I take that list of emails, I upload it on flockfantasy.com. It's just a CSV file, and then it applies free questions to all the accounts that have matching email addresses. So again, all you got to do is make sure you have an account on the site with the same email, and you'll be good. They'll automatically apply free ones. Okay. Moneybag Ed Boy trading Mason Amon-Ra St. Brown for Jacobs, Sutton, and Laporta. St. Brown to Jacobs, slight downgrade. Jordan Mason to Sutton, massive upgrade. You're getting Sam Laporta here as well. Actually, is this a dynasty deal? No, it's a redraft trade. I don't know why it says dynasty at the very bottom here. Yeah, I think I'd go ahead. I would take the Sutton side. Jacobs already through his bye. And a big thing that you have here with this is Jordan Mason realistically is probably going back to being an unusable player when you do get Aaron Jones back into this offense. I think Jordan Mason leads the backfield, but I think it's a committee and a bad offense, and Jordan Mason's not going to have a receiving role. Now, Gunna Boy says, would offer one of these wide receivers for Laporta. Gonna drop Johnson and pick up a wide receiver or running back, thanks. Offer one of these receivers for Laporta. I would trade Shakir for Laporta in a heartbeat. I would trade Addison for Laporta in a heartbeat. Xavier Worthy may be a little bit tough. Your team at wide receiver is not good enough to send Xavier Worthy for Sam Laporta, but either of the other wide receivers I would for sure. Okay. Now, Jake Cook with our next one. Trading Brees for Rome and Amari and Hampton. It's a 14-team format. So I would opt to give the running back the benefit of the doubt here. You would have Jacobs and Michael Carter left over at RB. If you have a winning record, I'm completely fine with you pivoting to Rome and Hampton because realistically for the flex, Rome is going to outscore Brees. And it looks like you are okay at running back where you can get away with it. Okay. Now, see, we'll go with the Rome and Hampton side. Now, Salim trading Bucky and Matthew Golden for Judkins and Olave. Bucky to Judkins, lateral move with the Bucky injury. Matthew Golden to Olave, upgrade for me. I think this is just going to come down to your record. So you don't really need the running back production right now. Your team's great. Wide receiver, you're okay as well. So if you are a team with a losing record, maybe you're 1-4 and you need some points right this second, which honestly, looking at your team, I'd say that's probably not the case. Your team's probably strong enough where you're chilling. Then yeah, I think you can go through. I think you can make an argument to take the Quinshon Judkins side. But if you have a winning record, instead, I would probably opt to go with the long-term upside of Bucky Irving, even if Bucky's going to miss another game or two. But fair deal. I would only take the Judkins side if you are like 1-4 and you're like, hey, I need a win right this second. I can't wait for Bucky to come back in. Now, John Vita says, want to improve the wide receiver room. I could do this and or trying to do Ferg and Debo for Rice. So Egbuka versus Rashee Rice. Egbuka is like wide receiver 5 in my rankings this week. He is a very much locked and loaded top 10 wide receiver every single week until you get Godwin back at full strength and Mike Evans back into this offense as well. So the only world in which I would trade Egbuka for Rashee Rice straight up is, hey, I'm 5-0, I'm 4-1. I am really just thinking about the fantasy football playoffs. Because by the time we get to the fantasy playoffs and we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers wide receivers back and Rashee Rice is back to his normal role, which he was averaging like over 22 points per game in, then by that time, yeah, I think you can make an argument to pivot over to Rashee Rice. But I would say that you would 100% need to be in a spot in which it's like, hey, I don't really need the production right now. Because realistically, what you could probably do with this, which is why I'm going to tell you to keep the Egbuka side, is I would just go ahead, hold on to Egbuka, and then make this trade next week. Because next week, you could still probably make this flip. Okay. Now, H. Worth's trading Baker, James Cook, Kyron, and Keon Coleman for Allen, Barkley, Hampton, and A.J. Brown. Cook to Allen, downgrade. Kyron to Barkley, lateral move. But Baker, Keon versus Hampton, and I'm probably going to go with the Barkley, Hampton, A.J. Brown side if you have a winning team. If you have a winning team where you're chilling and you don't necessarily need points right now, so you can't afford to wait for Amari and Hampton to come back in the playoffs. But again, you have no business trading for Amari and Hampton if you're in a spot in which you are 1-4. Now, big let's play. Trading Mahomes, Ginty, Olave for Daniels and Lamb. Ginty to Lamb upgrade, Mahomes to Daniels upgrade. You're paying Chris Olave to get it done, and I believe it's a 10-team, 2 wide receiver, 1 flex, where Olave is literally meaningless in this format. So yeah, I would go ahead and I'll take Daniels and Lamb. Shining Gazebo trading Swift, Flowers, Adams for Barkley and Judkins. This is Barkley and Judkins, and it's not close. The only way this would be close is if you are really nervous about the Saquon Barkley injury, but they've already said that he's playing on Thursday, and then he's going to have a 10-day break for his next game. So maybe I'm coping because I have Saquon Barkley on my own team, but I'm rolling with the Barkley side here pretty easily. Now, Z Leon says 0-5, drop my $33 fab on JCM. We have Gibbs, Mason White, Benson, Carter rostered, and start question to come later. Can I see your... Actually, I don't know if you submitted a start question because, frankly, we have them off. So here's the thing, man. It's hard for me to make waiver wire suggestions without knowing the player that we're going to drop. If Trey Benson is currently on your team on an 0-5 roster and he's not on your IR, I would drop him and I'd blow all my fab on Ja'Cory Cross-Garrett easily. However, if you're saying like, no, I actually would need to drop Michael Carter for Ja'Cory Cross-Garrett, then that would tell me your league is shallow enough. And I'm sorry, I know I've seen your team a bunch. I just can't remember for the life of me how many teams are in your league. But if it's like, hey, Michael Carter is the worst player on my team, it's like, hey, your league's probably shallow enough and where you have great waiver wire plays every single week. So I don't know if I would want to drop all my fab. But I would say in general, if you had like 33% of your fab budget left and there are 12 or more teams in your league, 100% you blow every dollar that you have on Ja'Cory Cross-Garrett. But if it's like an 8, okay, Z Leon says, I'm in the chat and I threw a trade question in so you can see it later. So, Z Leon, if you don't mind, I will keep on rolling all the way to your trade question here with these. And then if you are going to be around in the stream, can you just spam the chat, say, hey, remember my Ja'Cory Cross-Garrett thing? I would say for now, generally, yes, I would plan on dropping your $33 on JCM. But remind me when we get to your team to revisit that. And maybe I change my mind. Now, special BTW trading Javonte, Marv, Ladd for Lamb and Keon. So this Keon's almost a 0. It's just for Lamb. I can't really see your team. I would say that if this is a team that's 4-1, 5-0, and you are just cruising and it's a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex, then yeah, I'm not going to fault you for making this. But you would have to be in like a really, really good spot. But it does look like we just hit 400 likes in the stream. So we need to go through and we need to send out some more free questions. So again, if you wanted to win free questions for this live stream, the next live, whatever you want to do, I'm going to be streaming every day until Christmas. All you got to do is drop a like on this live stream and then go ahead and drop your flockfantasy.com username in the live chat. Go ahead and pick somebody. We'll pick 2 people out to send free questions to because we missed the 300 like one. And then also with that, of course, if y'all wanted to get guaranteed free questions, we're always doing it with the Underdog promo, or at least we have been for the past like 10 or so days. And I will actually give you all a massive shout out. More people have signed up to Underdog with code FLOCK in the past like 10 days than we've maybe have ever seen in a 10-day period. I don't know if it's because y'all are wanting the free questions for the live streams. You can see how many free questions we're answering, or more likely than not, it's just it's because Underdog's doing the best promo they've ever done. It's the play $5, get $100 added to your account when you use code FLOCK. The link to Underdog Fantasies in the live chat. It's in the description. Underdog Fantasies available in almost every single state. And on top of that, we get a free Jalen Hurts pick, higher, lower, half a total yard for the Thursday night game. And on top of that, my birthday's in a couple days. So it'll be the best birthday present you could possibly get me. But let's send out a few of these. This question's going to be going over to Cubes. I definitely mispronounced that, but my friend, I can't hold it against me that I am not a smart individual. Just sent you over a trade question voucher on the site. Appreciate you hanging out with us in this stream. And let's send this other one over to Kovu Zaha, something like that. Again, I probably mispronounced it, but you cannot hold it against me that I am not smart. And just found you on the site. Just sent you over a free trade question. Appreciate you hanging out with us as well. But let me know when we hit 500 likes on the stream. We'll go ahead and we'll send out another free question. And then special, by the way, if you were to make this trade for Lamb, it has to be on a team that you have a great record and you have great running back depth. Because again, Keon's effectively a 0. Now, Hunna trading Pearsall and Quentin Johnston for Trevion Henderson and Brian Thomas. I think you upgrade 2 spots, so I'll do it. We have a buy low video coming out soon. And I may or may not have Trevion Henderson on there with Antonio Gibson going to the IR with ACL. Okay. Now, Negatron trading Judkins and Tet for Jefferson. I can't see who you have at running back, but if you have enough running back depth, if the league settings are correct that you inserted here, where it's a 10-team, 2 wide receiver, 1 flex format, then yeah, I would do it. But obviously, you're only doing this if you have enough running back depth. If like your RB2 is Michael Carter and your RB3 is Dermicado, then probably not. Okay. Now let's move over to our next one. This is going to be from Scenarius, trading Bo, Jordan Mason, Waddle, Tucker Kraft for Hendo, London, and Caleb. Bo to Caleb upgrade, Mason to Hendo upgrade, Waddle to London upgrade. You pay Kraft to get it done. And we have Tyler Warren at tight end. Absolutely love using Tucker Kraft to make this move. Now, Shunt coming through. This is very random, and I'm sure that your username has nothing to do with what I'm about to discuss. But I don't know if y'all know this. I know y'all definitely don't know this. But a big, big thing in my life growing up is as like a little tiny infant baby, I essentially died. Like they had the priest come out and like tell my mom and like my dad, like, hey, let's pray over him. He's dead. And like they brought out the little zappers. I was like 1 and they zapped me back to life. And the reason is I had like fluid trapped in my brain. And then I had like crazy brain surgery where I had a shunt put in. And I had a shunt for I was supposed to have it forever. I was supposed to have it for like 18 years. I should not be wasting time telling you all this, but here we are. This name brought it up. It was supposed to be in forever, but essentially just drained fluid from my head down to like my abdomen where it wouldn't cause any problems. But I was never allowed to play football or anything. I wasn't allowed to play any contact sports because any hit to the head, I'm like RIP, legitimately. So if you see me on the street and hit me in the head, just understand you're getting a murder charge on you. But yeah, like I would go in and get CAT scans for it every year. And then they realized one year, they're like, hey, it's broken. Are you not having any problems? I was like, no. And they're like, oh, okay. Well, if you don't have any problems over the next few years and it's not working, then we can probably take it out. So eventually it got taken out when I was a sophomore in high school, but I was supposed to have it forever. But I know that's a little detour, but let me now answer your dynasty question, my friend. Here we are trading 2 future first, couple of future seconds for Jefferson and Laporta. It is a 1 quarterback dynasty league, at least it looks like it. So realistically speaking, the rookie picks are just worth less in a 1 quarterback dynasty league as opposed to what they would be in a super flex. So if you're a contender and the Jefferson side is going to win you this deal, yeah, they can go ahead and you take the Jefferson side. Now, Wadey Skyscraper says, would you pivot from Bucky to Judkins at this point with the injury? I technically have Bucky ranked 1 spot ahead of Quinshon Judkins rest of season. But the thing with Bucky, again, is you're not getting a guarantee, oh, he comes back week 7. Like, maybe he comes back week 7. Hell, maybe he comes back week 6. But, I mean, probably not, right? But there is an outside chance that week 7 comes around and they tell us, oh, no, it's going to be another 2 weeks. And we don't see this dude back until week 10. So, realistically speaking, like, if I was 1-4, yes, I would trade Bucky for Quinshon Judkins. Now, if I'm 3-2? Probably not. Like I said, I have Bucky ranked higher than Judkins at this point. But it is going to come down to what you have with specifically your actual record and if you need to optimize for points now or points later. Okay. Now, El Dario says, I'm 5-0, happy BRs. Stick with my squad or do we do this trade? Genty to Judkins, Egbuka to Lamb, Ertz to Laporta. 5-0 team, you go and you get CeeDee Lamb here. I know people are going to disagree with this, and I know that Egbuka looks like rookie season Justin Jefferson. Trust me, I have eyes. But realistically speaking, in the long term, I would still very much prefer having CeeDee Lamb over Egbuka. I still think at one point you're going to get Mike Evans. At one point you're going to get Chris Godwin, both at full strength in this offense, where Egbuka will still be the wide receiver one, but I don't know if he'll have everything here. And I think CeeDee Lamb will have more points per game rest of season. Judkins and Genty aren't that far off, and I'd much prefer Sam Laporta over Zach Ertz. So 5-0, give me CeeDee Lamb. Now, Headshot didn't actually include any players with this trade question, so I'm going to send you over a free trade question voucher so you can resubmit this, my friend. And let's keep rolling. But it looks like we just hit 500 likes on the stream, so we need to go through and send out some more free questions in the chat. So again, if you want to get free questions for this stream or another stream, all you got to do, stupid simple, drop a like on the live stream to enter, and then drop your flockfantasy.com username in the chat. So if you win, I know who to send it to. But let's see. Grand Lake Rock says, hey, Mason, are the giveaway hats available to only U.S. Mother Flocker members? No, they are not. Just if you are a paid member of the site and you have access to that Google form, go ahead and fill it out. I'm going to be completely honest. So realistically, for me to run this site, I pay 4 developers. We pay AWS fees, a bunch of different miscellaneous software fees. So there is like a generally high cost to me running the site. Then also for me to buy all the hats, and then I'm going to be packaging all the hats myself with my fiance and shipping all the hats. Realistically, to get everybody a hat, it's going to be about $20 a person, right? For me to buy the hat, for me to ship the hat. So if you like fill out the Google form and you are a monthly flocker and you've spent $13 on the site and you live in Europe where shipping is going to be $40, you're probably not getting a hat, Chief. I'm probably not going to go, yeah, let me lose $50 to ship this dude a hat because I love him so much. I'll be honest with you. I can't do that. But it's not just only annual Mother Flockers. If you got the season pass, definitely fill out the Google form. And I can't guarantee that you'll get the hat, but you got a good shot. Because as of right now, like I said, only 1,100 people have filled out the Google form, and I ordered 2,500 hats. So if you're a paid member of the site, for the love of God, go to the post page. It's completely free. Hit the free merch giveaway. Fill out the Google form. I'm not making a single dollar off this. I'm not collecting any emails off this. I already have your email on Stripe. We don't need it on the freaking Google form. And what the hell am I going to do with your physical address? I'm not driving over to show up to your house. So this isn't me trying to get your information. This is me trying to get your free hat. So if you're a paid member of the site, for the love of God, go ahead and fill that thing out so I can try to get you something cool. Now, Private Median winning this question here. Let me go ahead and send this over to you, my friend. Appreciate you hanging out with us in this stream. Private Median just found you and just sent you over a free trade question voucher. Again, thank you so much for hanging out with us in the live stream. Okay. Now let's move this over. Ryan with our next one. Trading Nico Spears for a bunch of down tiers. League analyzers pulling this in as if it's dynasty. It's not. Wide receiver, we lost Neighbors. Right now we have Pickens, Nico, Downs, Golden. We lost Amari and Hampton. So I'll say there's a good shot you're losing this trade value-wise. But when you lose Hampton and when you lose Neighbors and your league looks like depth is a requirement, you got to do something. You got to down tier from Nico in some way. And if this is the best you're going to get, this is the best you're going to get. Miss Nostalgia says, Mason, I still want to run YouTube shorts in your accounts. Make a couple YouTube shorts of our latest video and shoot it over me and I'll check them out. Okay. Now, CTE All-Star. Trading Wilson, Shakir. Why are you including Turpin here? This is a 0. For Burrow and Jalen Warren. I don't know if you're trolling me, but it's the Garrett Wilson side and it's not even really close. Now, Chase Hunt trading Chase Brown, Alvin Kamara for Saquon Barkley. I prefer Barkley. I mean, it's a 14-team format. You do have the depth, though, where you can get away with it. Obviously, Chase Brown does get a bump considering the addition of Flacco, but still, you have a garbage offensive line, right? It's not like you're in a great spot. Okay. Now, Butta coming out with our next one. Says, wanted wide receiver depth. Did I get enough value? Love you. Love you, my friend. Here, we upgraded from Judy to Pearsall. As somebody who has Jerry Judy on their team, I understand wanting to get that bum as far away from your locker room as possible. And we down-tiered from Kamara to Devonta Smith. We have Breeze, Taylor, Jalen Warren at running back. So we have plenty of running back production. Wide receiver. Your wide receiver 2 is Jamison Williams, so I understand you doing this deal. Do I think you won this deal value-wise? Probably not, but I understand you making the move. Don't get me wrong. I understand it. And I may need... Okay. Do we turn off the ability to buy? Yeah, we're going to turn off the ability for people to buy our views on the site for now. We are too far backed up. If you have a voucher, like if you're an annual Mother Flocker and you have a free team review voucher, you can still submit those in. But you can't buy a team review from us on the side anymore. You can buy it from other people, just not from us. Okay. Now, D. Whitmore trading Bowers for Ferg. I still have Bowers at tight end 3 in my rest of season ranks and Jake Ferg at tight end 4. The thing that we're looking at with the timeline of them is Bowers is obviously not coming back anytime soon. I'm sorry, let me not say that. Bowers isn't making an impact in your starting lineup anytime soon, where Jake Ferg is like the tight end 1 in my rankings this week. So if you had a losing record and you need points right now, go and get Jake Ferg. But long-term, Bowers will be healthy. Long-term, Lamb will be back. So long-term, I'd still rather have Bowers. But short-term, obviously, it's Ferg. So if you have a losing record, go get Ferg. Now, Sean trading Henry, Ricky Pearsall for Javonte and Alec Manor. Henry to Javonte upgrade. Pearsall to Alec Manor downgrade. Wide receiver, we have Puka, London, Diggs, DJ Moore. So you're fine at receiver. I'm okay if you want to do this, but keep in mind, I'm the same guy who has gotten clowned on. I said to avoid Derrick Henry last year when he turned out to be a league winner. I said to avoid Derrick Henry the year before that. He did turn out to get injured, so it wasn't horrible, but he looked like he was going to crush us. And this was my 3rd year saying to avoid Derrick Henry, so... I am maybe not the guy to ask Derrick Henry questions to. Like, I look at this, Kittle versus Tyler Warren, give me Tyler Warren, but I would way rather have Henry than Keenan, so I'd probably go with the Derrick Henry and George Kittle side of this. Now, Jay Fussman says, I'm 4-1 and not winning. What do you think? We're trading Walker for Chase Brown, Dobbs for Jennings, and then Hunter Henry to Kincaid. For me, I think that these are 3 lateral moves where it's up to you. Like, realistically speaking, I could see somebody make an argument for Chase Brown or Kenneth Walker. I could see somebody make an argument for Kincaid or Hunter Henry. I mean, for me, I'd rather have Jennings over Dobbs, but I mean, hell, if you're 1-4, are we wanting to trade for the injured wide receiver? So, I'm not going to mark either side as a winner here. Frankly, I don't think there is a winning side of that deal. I think it's a lateral move. Now, South Florida Dog says, hey, Mason, should I do this? It's an important decision. Bijan a CMC upgrade, Fields to Hurts upgrade, Ladd to Judy. So you're essentially sacrificing Ladd because Judy's a 0. And you're phenomenal at wide receiver. So yeah, I think you do this. I mean, realistically, points per game, Fields has been better than Hurts, but Hurts just gives you a significantly higher floor than Fields does. Jet E trading JCM for Amari and Hampton. If you have a winning record, give me Hampton. If you have a losing record, give me JCM. Bitter Hornet trading Scat and Tet for Drake London. Ooh. Leftover running back, you'd have Bijan, Chase Brown, like Dowdle. I don't know if I think I would probably hold on to Scat and Tet here. Like, I actually threw Scat on the trade block in my league myself because, like, oh, Tyron Tracy comes back. Maybe this kind of goes closer to being a running back by committee. So I get it. Don't get me wrong. But I don't know if it's like a no-brainer here. Okay, like I would probably rather have the package. I'd assume you could get more. MG trading Swift and Rice for Judkins and Johnston. You just lost Amari and Hampton, so I completely understand you doing this, needing points in the starting lineup right now. But it looks like we just hit 600 likes on the stream, so let's go ahead and let's send out some free questions. If you want to get those free questions, all you got to do to win them will be drop a like on the stream, then drop your flockfantasy.com username in the chat so I know who to send them to. And then also, of course, if you wanted to get free questions guaranteed, you always can take advantage of the offer that we have on Underdog Fantasy, where if you go over to Underdog Fantasy and use promo code FLOCK, you will get, $100 added to your account after you play your first 5. And on top of that, you'll get a free Jalen Hurts pick, higher, lower, half a total yard for the Thursday night game. And you'll get free questions that you can ask in these live streams. And I'm live streaming every single day until Christmas, answering fantasy football questions. Underdog Fantasy is available in almost every single state. And again, I owe y'all a massive thank you for taking advantage of that. I think we've had more people sign up to Underdog Fantasy over the past 10 days since they've been doing the $100 offer than we've had in forever. Now let's check this out. Let's send this over to Griffin. Griffin just found you, my friend, and just sent you over a free trade question. Really appreciate you hanging out with us in this live stream. And let's send out another one, too. If y'all got to sit through the 100th Underdog ad read, we can at least send out more than one free question. CK Switch just found you on the site, too, and just sent you over a free trade. Appreciate you hanging out with us as well. Now, here's what I got to do, ladies and gentlemen. Give me 1 second to clean up some stuff on this little desktop because we got a mess going on right now. And we have to find a way to professionalize our studio here. I'm streaming with the door behind me, door wide open. Hey, you never know who's going to walk in. You never know. It could be Tom Petty walking through that door right now. Okay. Now, this trade is going to be from Bitter Hornet, trading Scat, J-Mo, Ricky Pearsall for Waddle and Brian Thomas. I think you're upgrading at 2 wide receiver spots, and I think you're sacrificing Scat. And I don't think we can afford to sacrifice Scat. Like, how down bad are we at receiver? Rice, Tet, Pearsall, J-Mo. If you had a really bad record, I understand going just because it's like, hey, Pearsall banged up. Also, you're having to deal with the Rashee Rice suspension. But once Rice comes back, once Pearsall is healthy, like it's not going to be nearly as bad as what you're looking at right now with your wide receiver room. So, It's a fair deal. It's a fair deal. Definitely more fair on both sides than usually the trades you've been sending. Now, Nick trading Jefferson versus Henry, Higgins, and Brian Thomas. It's a 10-team, 2 wide receiver, 1 flex, where we do not need help with our depth whatsoever. So, in a 10-team league where you only start 2 receivers and 1 flex spot, realistically, I would rather you just go ahead and you just hold on to the best player, which will be Justin Jefferson. Okay. Now, Braden trading James Cook for Sutton and Pickens. It's a 10-team, 2 wide receiver, 1 flex. You're about to get CeeDee Lamb back in. We're fine at running back, and wide receiver could use some help, but I don't think this is the way we go about it in your format. In your format, I would say keep the best player, and the best player here, in my opinion, is very clearly James Cook. Bitter Hornet trading Chase Brown, Woody Marks, and JMO for Derrick Henry. So Chase Brown gets the bump up with Joe Flacco in town and the overall offense improving. JMO's the depth piece that we can't rely upon, not in a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex. Woody Marks, depth piece that we can't rely upon. So I would say in the long term, once Lamar Jackson's back, I understand wanting to go through and make this play. In the short term, like, obviously, Derrick Henry is almost nothing. And for the love of God, tell me my mouse didn't just die. And our mouse just died. So we are going to have to find some random questions in the chat for me to answer as we wait for our mouse to charge. God, I'm so dumb. If you have any just general questions in the chat you want to ask while I'm stalling here before you can get back to site questions, let me know. Nathan says, should I drop Harold Fannin for Mason Taylor? I believe I have them ranked back-to-back. I think that's going to be a personal preference deal for you. Because keep in mind, the Browns are running a lot more in 2 tight end sets now that you have Cedric Tillman out of this offense, where it just makes a lot of sense personnel-wise, right, for them to go through and for them to have 2 tight ends in the field and get Harold Fannin more involved. Now, Jacob says, Stafford or Love for week 6? We're going to go with Love. Right now, you actually have the Green Bay Packers projected out to be the highest scoring offense in the league this week. Now, I will say with that, obviously the expectation should be they run the ball over and over and over again, which is good for me having Josh Jacobs, but still. Toby says, who should I use a higher priority waiver wire on, Rico Dowdle or Michael Carter? I would say if you need somebody just for this week, Rico Dowdle is going to be a better option. If you need somebody for the long term, I would prefer Michael Carter, just for the only reason being that you're going to have specifically Trey Benson out much longer than Chuba Hubbard. Khalid says 1-4 with Lamb. What are we doing? We are throwing Lamb out on the trade block and seeing if you can pivot to a different elite receiver, whether that's St. Brown, whether that's Jamar Chase, whoever it may be. Glad says, should I trade CMC because of the week 14 playoffs? Are you saying that does CMC have a bye week in week 14? In general, if you have McCaffrey and he's going to miss the first week of your fantasy playoffs, I completely understand you wanting to pivot off of CMC and instead go ahead and look at an option like Jonathan Taylor if he doesn't have the week 14 bye. Andrew says, do annual flockers get a free team review? No, if you are looking at an annual flocker membership on the site, that gets you access to everything on the site year round. An annual Mother Flocker membership on the site with code FLOCK will get you access to everything on the site year round, plus free vouchers for trades, start sit, and roster reviews. Haskins or Carter with the higher waiver wire priority? I would rather have Michael Carter over Hassan Haskins for a multitude of reasons. One, we can be confident that Michael Carter is the starting running back because we've seen it. And 2, you're going to have Trey Benson out longer than you're going to have Amari and Hampton. So, yeah, I would go Michael Carter over Hassan Haskins. Okay. The mouse is back, so we can get back to these questions on the site. So Bitter Hornet, short term, it's not going to look like a win, but long term when Lamar is in your format with your team, I think you can go Derrick Henry. Okay. And what I actually need to do, give me 1 second, is I need to pull up the Google Drive and send, or I don't need to send anything. I just need to upload the video I just recorded for the running back rankings this week for the editor. RB ranks week 6. Perfect. That's uploading. Hopefully this live stream doesn't crash. Okay. Perfect. That's good to go. Now we can move this over. Now, Sad Metabolite trading Taylor down tier to Lamb, Higgins, lateral move to Dobbins, slide up tier, in massive up tier from Hunter Henry to Tyler Warren. This is an interesting deal. If I had a winning record, I'd probably go with the CeeDee Lamb side. As realistically, when Lamb is fully healthy, in a full BBR format, you can make an argument that CeeDee Lamb could eventually turn into an option that's more valuable than JT. Like, they are going to be close. And then there's nothing that's really going to happen to make Hunter Henry as close to Tyler Warren. So if you have a winning record, I think you can go for it. A losing record now. Smooth trading Fields, Hendo, and Downs for Derrick Henry. We have Dak and Bo Nix at quarterback. Downs is literally a 0. We just lost Amari Hampton. I think you can do this. I do like Trevion Henderson as a buy low option. Don't get me wrong. Okay. Bitter Hornet says, do these 3 guys have any trade value at all? They are 1 and 4. Need a running back bad. Is this worth sending? So here's the thing. Tajee Spears, premium handicap back. They said he's going to expand his role, but realistically, it's a garbage offense, right? So the ceiling is just going to be severely capped here, no matter how you cut it. Looking at what you have with Woody Marks, you do have the upside for him to continue to expand. I'd clearly rather have Pittman over JMO. I mean, I think you can go for it. Don't get me wrong. And there is a chance that they accept it. I just don't know how excited they are to get Woody Marks and Tajee Spears right after this week. Okay. Now, Drew 2 Huncho says, lost neighbors, will this help my team or leave as is? Judkins to Rome, lateral move up to you. Waddle to Ladd and Hendo, give me Ladd and Hendo. So yeah, I would take this deal. Especially if you lost neighbors, go get Rome. Okay. Now, Bryce trading Brees, Jalen Warren, Myers, Debo, Tet for Gibbs and Jamar. Brees to Gibbs, clear upgrade. Tet to Jamar, clear upgrade. You're paying 3 depth pieces. It's a 10-team, 2 wide receiver, 1 flex. Leftover, you'll have Bijan, Gibbs, Josh Jacobs, St. Brown, and Jamar Chase. You'll have to backfill with wide receivers off waivers. But in a 10-team, 2 wide receiver, 1 flex, yeah, you go ahead and you make this move. Okay. Now, Dang Shoot trading a future first and JCM for Sutton and the Big Q in a super flex league. Like, I would say the Big Q versus the future first, almost equivalent. JCM versus Sutton in Dynasty, almost equivalent as well. Rebuilding team, I definitely want JCM in the first, but I understand if you're a contender, need wide receiver help here and a start 10 format if you wanted to go with the wide receivers. I think it's a fair deal, but keep in mind, obviously the Sutton value is going to be much lower this offseason, just given the trajectory of just the life cycle of these receivers in Dynasty. Now, Bitter Hornet, Chase Brown, and Woody Marks for Bucky Irving. This would be my favorite of the trades that you've sent me. I'd prefer Bucky here. Now, Tin Man says, will I be too thin? I think Tet will improve. So, Worthy, Addison, Dowdle for Tet. Running back, you'd have Kyron, Bucky, and Rashad White. Wide receiver, you'd have Tet, Pickens, London. It's a 12-team, 2 receiver, 1 flex format. I think you can make this if your expectations are Chuba Hubbard comes back this week or next week. But with that being said, obviously, if Hubbard were to miss an extended period of time with how Rico Dowdle looks at this point, it would be really, really tough. Now, our next one is going to be from Ignorant Technician. Says, I would also pick up Mason Taylor at tight end. So Jawan Johnson's essentially a zero here. You're trading RJ Harvey for Alvin Kamara, and I would rather have Alvin Kamara. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm worried about Kamara. He doesn't look great, but I think you still go with him. Okay. Now let's refresh this. Now, G's Lewis says, what's up, Mason? Long live the king. Much love, my friend. Shout out Underdog, currently 5-0. Wanted to get better at my wide receiver position. I mean, I think this is a no-brainer. It's a 10-team, 2 wide receiver, 1 flex league. You have Brees, CMC, Jonathan Taylor. So in reality, you were just flexing on us with like the best team that I've ever seen. So you already know, yes, you want to run away with the Amon-Ra St. Brown here. Yes, this is an incredible team. Yes, this is an incredible trade. And this trade would just make this team that much better. Like your starting lineup would be unbelievable. Now, Pot Rock trading ETN Tet for Amon-Ra St. Brown. 14-team format, so selling the running backs is just going to be a little bit tougher here. We'd have JCM and Ja'Cory Crosky-Merritt. So realistically, 14-team league, I probably prefer the ETN and Tet side of this. If it was a 12-teamer, if it was especially a 10-team league, I would go and get Amon-Ra St. Brown. But if we're selling a running back in a 14-teamer, I want to be charging a premium. But Fantasy Lance's emergency question. Kamara, Jameson. Okay. What are you doing here, my guy? What's the play? You're making your offers worse? I rejected the initial one. You made it worse. Here, how I'd break this down is ETN versus Kamara. Give me ETN. Diggs versus JMO. Give me Diggs. Judy versus Keon Coleman. Give me the waiver wire. Who cares? I'd be downgrading 2 spots. What are we talking about? Okay. But we just hit 700 likes, so let's go ahead. Let's send out some free questions in the chat. Again, all you got to do to qualify for free questions will be drop a like on this stream, and then you can also go through and you can put your flockfantasy.com username in the chat. So if you win the free question, I know who to send it to. Okay. And as we wait for y'all to do that, I'll also remind y'all, if y'all wanted to get guaranteed free questions for these live streams, you can do so by taking advantage of the offer that we have on Underdog Fantasy. Underdog is doing their biggest promo ever, which is if you sign up with code FLOCK, you will get $100 added to your account after you play your first 5. And on top of that, you'll get a free Jalen Hurts pick, higher, lower, half a total yard for the Thursday night game. Underdog Fantasy is available in almost every single state, and you can find that link in the description as well as the comment section. But let's go ahead and let's send this out. Let's send this to Mike Dodd. My guy, you got a good last name. Strong last name. Let's see if I can find you on the site, my friend. I cannot. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm misspelling that. Let's see if we can find Monstrous Tenants. Monstrous Tenants. I cannot find you either. What is going on? Do I need to refresh? Try refreshing. Okay. Monstrous. I can't find you. Maybe you didn't use code FLOCK on your account. Let's send this over to Arturo. Arturo, just found you. just sent you over a free trade question. Appreciate you hanging out with us here in this live stream. And again, here for the questions on the screen from Pot Rock. If you were in a 10-team league, if you're in a 12-team format, give me a Monroe St. Brown. But 14-team league, where it'd be a little bit thin at running back there. I would just rather have the depth. Bitter Hornet says, they have Bucky. This leaves me with Bijan, Dowdle, Mark, Spears, Chase Brown, Lamb, and Tracy coming back. Is it worth it? 100%, my guy. If they have Bucky and they're willing to go out there and trade for Scat, again, I threw Scat on the trade block in my league because I'm a little bit concerned of Tyrone Tracy coming back in, not taking over the backfield. Like, don't get me wrong. I do think that you are going to have a Cam Scattaboo as, realistically speaking, the lead RB. But if it turns into a running back by committee and one of the worst offenses in the league, then at that point, I would be a little bit more concerned. So obviously with Pickens, you're going to get Lamb back soon, but I just think that in your case, Pickens makes sense. Now, Red Holt Smash trading Rome for Etienne and Marv. How down bad are you at running back? Pretty down bad. I think you may be losing this trade value-wise, but you got to make it because you need a running back you can start. Now, Richard says, lost Neighbors and Benson, trade the elite tight end and quarterback. We have Pollard, Olave, Tyler Warren for Judkins and Travis Hunter. Okay, so right now we're starting Derrick Henry, DeAndre Swift, Michael Carter at running back, wide receiver. Here's the thing, man. You make this like... I would rather have the Olave Pollard side of this. Because realistically speaking, your team's deeper at running back than it is wide receiver. Like, and Travis Hunter is not usable. So I would rather have Tyler Warren and Olave for your team here. Okay. Now, kill a Cam with our next one. Trading JCM and AJ Brown for Hendo and Rashee Rice. This is Hendo and Rashee Rice. I don't think it's close either. As long as you have a winning record and we can go long term. Bitter Hornet says, I know this is a no-brainer, but do I have enough depth to do this? Is there a better trade with our depth? Leftover, we have... So Matthew Stafford's effectively a zero for you. Like, I think I told you the other day to drop Matthew Stafford if we have Jaden Daniels here. Leftover, you'd have CMC, Bijan, Woody Marks, Aaron Jones at RB. Wide receiver, you'd have Sutton, Puka, Manor. So maybe you'd be a little bit thin in the short term, but you could backfill with waiver wire options. Obviously, some of these, you picked up Dowdle off waivers. You picked up Ja'Cory Crossing Merritt possibly off the waiver wire. I know some other guys that you have, like Woody Marks, you picked up off waivers, right? So you can, realistically speaking, find options on the waiver wire to backfill depth with. So I would go ahead. I would take Bijan Robinson here. Ian Gosh is 3-2. Could do Montgomery or Walker instead of Brown. Gibbs to Puka upgrade. And then honestly, all three of those running backs are like RB 23, 24, 25 for us in our rankings. So realistically, it doesn't matter what running back you want. Like if you wanted to go for Chase Brown, given the fact that Flacco's in town now, I'm not going to stop you from doing it. But yeah, I think that Puka Nacua is in a different tier than Jahmyr Gibbs at this point. Crazy to say, but again, Puka's averaging like 26 points per game. Now, Cesarno trading Genty, Metcalf, Andrews for Henry and Tyler Warren. Hollywood's a zero. Genty to Derrick Henry down tier. Andrews is a zero as well. I mean, we can just get rid of these guys in this trade. This is effectively Genty and Metcalf for Derrick Henry and Tyler Warren. Don't really have a capable tight end at this point. Leftover receiver, we'll have London, Wilson, Devonta Smith, 2 wide receiver, 1 flex format. I think you can do this, but I would just say that obviously it's going to continue to look very, very ugly with Derrick Henry in the short term. You are going to have to just see Lamar come in the long term to helpfully save this. Okay. Now, Z Leon says, I'm 0-5. They lack running back. Do I do this only if I can get JCM off waivers, or do I stick with Mason? Please help. No, I think, let me see. So I know you were asking if we should bid all our budget on JCM. Yes, bid all your budget on JCM and drop Alakeo Manor to your previous question. And then in terms of making this deal, no, if you're 0-5, you need to be optimizing for points in the short term. And Zay Flowers with the Lamar injury is a long-term play. Like, Flowers in the short term isn't super exciting. So I would rather have Olave and Jordan Mason here, to be honest. Okay. Now, again, spend all your fab on JCM for sure. And drop AO Manor. Will Dickham says, already made this trade. Big Williams believer. Also traded Henry for Judkins in a different deal. Love that one. So Rome to Javonte. I'd rather have Rome. Diggs to Higgins. I'd rather have Diggs. So for me personally, if you didn't need a running back, my personal preference is I like the Rome side of this. But with that being said, I completely understand you going for Javonte. Javonte is like the RB4 right now in points per game. So it's completely reasonable either way, to be honest. Like, you can kind of see this in our overall rankings. But for me, I think I would go Diggs and Rome Odunze. It's not like you need a running back. Now, Clyde Knott says, currently 5-0 in my dynasty league. Yeah, kind of regardless, you would trade Derrick Henry for Trevion Henderson. It doesn't matter if you're a contending team. Just the amount of value that Trevion Henderson's going to have 3 months from now compared to Derrick Henry, it's going to be insane. No Grit, No Glory says, want to trade for Jamar. Is this too good of an offer? McBride, Chase, up tier. JMO looks like it's almost nothing. I think you can 100% do this post-Flacco deal. I'd go with the Jamar side. Z Hoover trading Swift for Chase Brown. I have them RB23, RB25 in our rankings. I do have Swift just 2 spots higher. Realistically, he's already through his bye, so you're going to get him for an extra game. But I wouldn't fault you whatsoever if you wanted to go through and if you wanted to instead take Chase Brown. Realistically speaking, it's just personal preference type deal with this. Now, Fungi trading Dobbins and McBride for CeeDee Lamb. We don't have another tight end running back. We'd have Gibbs. I don't think you can do this, to be honest. Like, I like the value of it, but if we don't have another tight end and all of a sudden you'd be relying on Woody Marks as your RB2, well, like, I completely understand that, like, yes, Rico Dowdle's a great play in the short term. In the long term, and Hubbard comes back, like, I don't know if we can rely on Dowdle either. Now, Keg says, should I make this trade offer after Flacco to the Bengals? Realistically speaking, I have Chase wide receiver 6, Lamb wide receiver 5 with the Lamb injury. And since you also have Rashee Rice suspended and Terry McLaurin injured as well, I don't know if you're the person that can afford to go out there and can afford to trade for CeeDee Lamb. So I would probably hold on to Jamar Chase and Tony Pollard. Now, Bengus says, hey, Mason, huge fan. 4-1, prepping for the playoffs. Really already let go of Igbuka with Saquon hurt. So if you're... 2 different ways to answer this. One, the truthful way of what I would do with my team. With my team, I would be completely fine. I'd be A-okay trading Igbuka for Saquon Barkley. Given the fact that you are looking at, by the time the fantasy playoffs are here, Evans will be healthy, Godwin will be 100%, and you will have some target competition all of a sudden in this offense. Now, with that in mind, I think you are also down tiering from Henderson to JMO and Keon. Like, I also think by the time you get to those final 3 weeks, Trevion Henderson's going to be in a really good spot. So realistically speaking, I don't know if I want to trade Henderson on a team that's 4-1. It is kind of going to be up to you here. If it was for me, I would trade Igbuka for Barkley, though. But it looks like I need to log out and log back in. So it's a good time to stall by reminding you that, God, you're looking good today. You are looking. Don't let your wife know I said this, but you are looking scrumptious. All right, now we are logged back in. We're booting things back up. And let's pull this back over. Okay, this is for Bengals. Like I said, I'd sell Igbuka straight up for Barkley, but also I don't think I would down tier from Henderson to J-Mo and Keon Coleman are almost zeros. Now, Wesley Island trading Sharp for Aaron Jones. They're RB35 and RB38 in my rest of season ranks. Realistically speaking, I think that they're both going to be in very similar spots. I would rather have Charbonnet because I think there's an outside chance that we end up getting a Kenneth Walker trade. But like they're both going to be guys that if the backfield mate that they share the running back room with goes down, then all of a sudden they are auto starts. However, if he stays healthy, then they're just desperation plays for a flex. Now, D. Garino trading Judkins and Igbuka for Jonathan Taylor and Trevion Henderson. If I were to look at this, realistically speaking, you have Bucky, Hampton, both injured at the moment. So with both, I mean, hell, you're getting a startable. You're getting like you're probably starting Henderson right now. I think you can make this deal, but I'm going to let you know that the vast majority of the people in the chat would rather have the Igbuka side. Now, Quiet Storm says, I lost Hampton and want Gibbs handcuff. Well, you're overpaying for it. Like, I would clearly rather have Travis Etienne. Like, I don't think you should react to one of your running backs going down by trading for the handcuff of the other RB that you have. Now, Jalen, I'm sorry I couldn't find you on the site earlier. I don't know what was going on. Trading Etienne and Mara for Breece Hall. 10-team, 2 wide receiver, 1 flex. If those are the correct league settings, yes, I would do this. I view Etienne and Breece in different tiers now that you have Braylon Allen injured. Batmag says, this deal or the same one for Henry with lost neighbors. So here's the thing. It is 12 teams start 9. So start 9 league is like you start 3 receivers and 2 flexes. We have London, Tet, and that's about it at wide receiver. And Stephon Diggs. Then a running back, we have Chase Brown. You have no depth on your team. So I like the value of the Kyron Williams side in a vacuum. In most teams, I want to go with the Kyron Williams side of it. But specifically for a team in which you need to be worrying about the depth on your roster in a deeper league, I think it's understandable. And I probably would opt to go with I'd probably prefer having the additional starter. Now, B. Garner trading Kamara and JSN for James Cook and Rashee Rice. JSN to James Cook, lateral move. Kamara to Rashee Rice, clear upgrade. I'd 100% do this deal. Cockbach trading Keenan and Kraft for Montgomery and Myers. You have Darren Waller at tight ends. Keenan to Myers is a lateral move. You're down bad at running back, so I understand doing this for David Montgomery. But with that being said, I would imagine you could get more value for Tucker Kraft and Keenan Allen. But it looks like we had 800 likes in the stream, so we need to go through and send out some more free questions. And again, if you want to get those free questions, all you got to do will be drop a like on the stream and then drop your flockfantasy.com username in the chat. So if you win one, I know who to send it to. And with that as well, if you wanted to get guaranteed free questions, you can always do so by taking advantage of the offer on Underdog Fantasy. Or if you use promo code FLOCK on Underdog Fantasy, you will get $100 added to your account after you play your first 5. A free Jalen Hurts pick, higher or lower, half a total yard for the game on Thursday. Free questions that you can ask in these live streams that I'm streaming every single day, answering them until Christmas. Underdog Fantasy is available in almost every single state, and you can find the link in the description as well as the live chat. But let's go ahead and let's send out some of these. Let's send out a free one to Squiddy. Let me see if I can find you on the channel or on the site, my friend. Appreciate you reaching out. Appreciate you hanging out with us in the stream. Squiddy, just found you. Just sent you over a free trade question. Again, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Okay. Team is 1-4. What moves do I make? Do we make this deal? 1-4 roster. No, you can't. 1-4 team, you're selling long-term value for short-term production. So here's the thing you do on your team, my guy. You sell Amari and Hampton if you're 1-4. You send Hampton to a playoff team that can actually think about his long-term upside. Now, Peaky Rifle trading Jacobs and Olave for Bucky and a future second. Is this, yeah, this is a dynasty team, and if this is a dynasty team, it's going to be Bucky in the second for me easily. TFES Robs is not a question guy, not looking to trade Chase, but thought I'd throw it your way to see if you have a counter. Okay. If you were selling Chase, you need much more, in my opinion. Like, I know Jake Ferg is... Here's what I would need if I was selling Chase. I'd ask for McBride. Tell him to keep Jake Ferg. Like, if y'all remember, 3 weeks ago, we had Jake Ferguson on the buy low video. Main thing was, we were like, oh, okay, when you have no CeeDee Lamb here, he is just going to be absolutely crushing. But realistically speaking, once CeeDee Lamb does come back, then at that point, you're going to be in a much tougher spot with Jake Ferguson, just with the raw target volume. Because it's not like he's an elite level talent. He's getting there off of targets. He's like the 5th player in the NFL in targets at this point. So I would say that I would prefer chasing this, but I would ask for McBride instead of Ferg if you wanted to counter. Drake Maylover trading Etienne and Igbuka for Bucky and Adams. I would rather have Igbuka and Etienne here. Ryan going from Nico Golden Spears to Dobbins, Quentin Johnston, DJ Moore. Let me confirm that this is a dynasty team. League Analyzer is saying that this is dynasty. I think it has it wrong. I think this is a redraft format. And if this is a redraft format, it's going to be Nico Collins for me kind of easily. And honestly, if it's a dynasty, it doesn't matter if it's dynasty or a redraft. It's going to be the Nico Collins and Matthew Golden side. Okay. Now, Trigger Happy trading Bijan and Jake Ferg for Bowers and Lamb. I would rather have Bijan and Jake Ferg at this point. I mean, once Lamb is back and producing, then maybe at that point you could view him in a similar tier to Bijan, but not right now. Now, Chalk Dalk says, hate my team, crap pick in the draft, looking to upgrade running back 1, running back 2, wide receiver through an Allen trade, then waiver wire quarterback. Yeah, you would do this in a heartbeat, right? Ladd to Waddle upgrade, Shakir to A.J. Brown upgrade, Reed, who cares, but Pollard, who cares, and Josh Allen to Bijan Robinson, massive upgrade. So if you have a really bad team, then I completely agree with you. the luxury quarterback isn't something that you can afford, and you'd be better off going through and getting upgrades across the starting lineup, getting the anchor running back like Bijan, and then going with waiver wire quarterback options going into the future. So, yeah, I think you do this. Now, our next one's going to be from Jay Tolan, trading White, Ricky, Andrews for Kittle and Ramadre. Andrews is a 0. And I would much prefer Kittle over these other names. So, yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and take the George Kittle side. I think that you're probably looking at Kittle coming back in week 7. And with all the wide receiver injuries, Kittle should be set up to absolutely crush. Okay. Now, sports fans trading Achane, Hunter Henry for Ferg and Kyron. If Lamb was going to be out rest of season, it'd be the Ferg and Kyron side easily with how Ferg is producing. And I need to move Ferg up our rest of... I'm not going to move him up from tight end 4, but I'm going to move him up the overall ranks for sure. Because, yeah, we would rather have Ferg over Marv at this point, at the very minimum. I think I'd rather have Kittle over Hampton, Henderson, Quentin Johnston, A.J. Brown, Brian Thomas, Montgomery. Yes, we're going to move the tight ends up the rest of season ranks. I'd rather have Kittle over Hubbard. I'd rather have Kittle over Marvin Waddle. Yeah, we will. Yeah, so we're going to move Ferg up our rest of season ranks in terms of overall. We just moved him to 43 overall. If you were a team that really needed a win over the next few weeks, I would probably go ahead. I would probably take the Ferg and Kyron side because, again, Ferg's going to continue to project out to be like the tight end 1 in fantasy whenever you have no CD Lamb. But once Lamb does eventually come back here, then I think you're in a spot in which you're going to see that go down dramatically. So I think it's a fair deal and it's going to be up to you. Jay Moore says, my team is Allen, Gibbs, Brees, Igbuka, T, Hunter Henry, Scat on the flex, and then we have DJ Moore and Ayuk. So I completely understand maybe feeling like we want to go through an upgrade at wide receiver, but this would be horrible, my friend. T. Higgins does get a slight bump up with Quinshon Judkins. So you can survive putting him there at wide receiver 2. If you're selling Judkins, you need significantly more value. So you'd go Judkins here. Eli Davis trading Fields for Kyler down tier. Sharp to Judkins. Let's go Lamb to Judkins down tier. Sharp to A.J. Brown up tier. 14 team format. If you are a losing team with a losing record, I understand going and getting the points right now and getting CeeDee Lamb off your team. But I would rather have Lamb if you can think long-term here if you're like 4-1. Now, Travis Box trading JCM, Travis Hunter for Quentin Johnston and RJ Harvey. I'd rather have Quentin Johnston and RJ Harvey here pretty easily. Info Stealer trading Judkins and Rice for Kamara, Scat, and McMillan. Judkins to Kamara down tier, Rice to McMillan down tier, and you're just getting Scat for it. I would rather have Judkins and Rashee Rice and a 10-team 2 wide receiver 1 flex. Give me the best players. Daniel trading JCM and Garrett Wilson for Jahmyr Gibbs. This looks like it's an 8-team league. So if it is an 8-team league, it's Jahmyr Gibbs, and it's not even remotely close. Now, Connor trading Kyron for ETN and Tet. This is a 10-teamer. Wide receiver, we have Rome, Brian Thomas, Xavier Worthy, Lad McConkey. Running back, we have Genty, White, Mason. You have plenty of depth in this 10-team format where the options on the waiver wire are going to be fine. So I would actually rather just hold on to Kyron Williams here. Colo trading Nico for Chase Brown and Zay Flowers. how down bad are you at running back? We have Achane, Rashad White, Aaron Jones, Pollard. I would hold on to Nico. I think you can survive with him for the time being. If Bucky Irving's coming back this week, then all of a sudden it looks like we don't have an RB2. Then you can go ahead and make a deal like this, even if you lose value. But I would prefer... I think I'd prefer waiting just a bit here. And seeing if Rashad White's viable. And if Rashad White is viable, you don't have to make that move now. Daddy says, how do I get the free questions from Underdog? So the instructions are right with the link in the description. All you got to do is sign up to Underdog Fantasy, make at least a $10 deposit with code FLOCK, and then every morning Underdog sends me a CSV with the email addresses that signed up to Underdog Fantasy with promo code FLOCK the day before. I take that CSV, I upload it to flockfantasy.com, and all accounts on flockfantasy.com that have matching emails get the free questions loaded onto their account where you don't have to do anything. So all I got to do is do the Underdog thing and then have an account on flockfantasy.com with the same email address, and then you're good to go. And if you have any issues, you can always email support@flockfantasy.com. Now, Trevor says, deep at wide receiver, still have Egbuka, Ladd, Rome, Pickens, and Godwin. Feel like I am winning this deal. Yeah, if you still have those wide receivers left over, then you go and get Josh Jacobs and you run. You get Jacobs and you run here. Kingslayer says, it works. I did it with Underdog. Yeah, I mean, you can just tell that it works by like how many free questions we answer in every single live stream. Like, so the majority of the questions that we're answering with in this stream are the free questions. And the majority of those free questions people got by taking advantage of the Underdog offer. Now, Rich Damien says, I tuned in late. How do I know if my question got answered? When your question gets answered on flockfantasy.com, you will get a message on the site with a custom link that will take you to the part of the live stream where your exact question was answered. So you'll get emailed when your question's answered, and you'll get that message on the site as well that will tell you like, hey, your question was answered. Click this link. You'll click that link and it'll take you to the exact time that I answered your question. Now, Rich says, haven't asked you in years, but Jacob is 0-5 to start. And dear God, let me big screen this real quick. Jacob, how long do you have to be embarrassed by your league mates? How long do you have to be embarrassed by Rich for you to finally bend the knee, admit that they are better at fantasy football than you are, to maybe think that you should watch a fantasy football video or two and maybe learn something? Honestly, for you to have this bad of a track record, I feel like I kind of got to get you a free subscription to the site just so you stand a chance in future years. But honestly, I don't even know if I could help you. You're so down bad. But RIP Jacob, truly embarrassing performance year in and year out. The dude has literally no idea what he's doing. Okay. Now, Ross with our next one. 10-team full PPR and quarter point per rush. We have Judkins, Kincaid versus RJ Harvey and Trey McBride. Quarter point per rush, I would way rather have Judkins over McBride. Quarter point per rush, Judkins is crushing. Give me Quinshon Judkins here easily. If it was different league settings, then maybe we would treat it differently. Here, Rec Room trading Rice for Lamb. I would go Rice here. I'm sorry, I would go Lamb here. I think this is the one very few rare instance where you can sell Rice. Wouldn't be surprised if you get both of them back the same week. Now, Svint J trading DJ Moore for Kendre Miller. I would rather have DJ Moore in a vacuum here, especially this is a league in which you can start up to 4 wide receivers weekly. I see that our wide receiver room is better than our running back room, but still. I think you hold on to DJ Moore. You hope that you get a random spike week, and then at that point you could sell him for more than this. Now, Mr. Filthy Wubbs trading Judkins and Laporta for Saquon Barkley. We have Mason Taylor at tight ends. I would do this because I still view the Eagles as an elite offense, and I still view the Browns as a garbage offense. But with that in mind, obviously you have the Saquon Barkley injury that you need to be concerned with. And Judkins has been crushing. Okay. Let's move over to our next question. This is not Slade. It says 10-team super flex, no regular flex. We lost Hampton to the IR. So it's a start 7 format. So here's the thing. If it's a start 7 league and you're starting 2 quarterbacks are going to make up almost like 45% of your starting lineup output weekly. So I am putting a massive premium on Josh Allen. But with that being said, if you lost Hampton, it is okay to sell Allen for Gibbs, Barkley, and Daniel Jones because you are being compensated for it. But this is not just a regular super flex league where you should be bumping up quarterback value. Like, this is a super flex league where quarterback value is exponentially higher than most. Andrew Baba trading JSN, DeAndre Swift for Brees and Rome. Ooh. I think this is a actually, it's not linked, so you probably just filled this out wrong. If it's a non-PPR format, I'm going to go with Brees Hall. Non-PPR format, JSN would take a significant hit. Full PPR league, it's going to be a fair deal, and it's going to be up to your personal preference. But I do like Brees Hall a lot more now than we did previously, just given what you have with the Braylon Allen injury. Now, Moneybag Ed Boy trading Walker, Jordan Mason, Amon-Ra St. Brown for Barkley, J-Mo, Flowers, and Bowers. St. Brown versus Barkley, give me St. Brown. Jordan Mason versus J-Mo, give me Jordan Mason. Walker versus Flowers, up to you. Get Brock Bowers for your troubles. I think that this is going to be a fair deal, and I think that this is up to you as well. If you have a losing record, I'd probably just take Amon-Ra St. Brown to start winning games right now. If you have a winning record where you can think long-term here with Bowers coming back in, we'll probably go with the Bowers side. But obviously, it does put you in a little bit of a tough spot if Bowers isn't going to be producing over the next few weeks. Okay. Let's move over to our next question. This is Wilson, says we also get fab dollars. Other wide receivers are like Buka, QJ, A.O. Manor, and Torrey Horton. Okay. So you're saying our wide receiver room's not great. Who do we have at quarterback? We have Herbert. Caleb, depending on matchup, realistically, you could play over Herbert. So, like, you are effectively losing points per game. I would say if this is a team with a losing record and you're getting fab dollars, I understand going and getting Pittman. But if you had a winning record, like realistically, once Mike Evans comes back, there is a chance that Mike Evans is over Michael Pittman in our weekly rankings at that point. And it's not like Evans is on the IR with no return soon. Like, he's missed the past 2 weeks already. So if they avoided putting him on the IR, like, I'm not expecting Evans to come back like now, but I wouldn't be surprised whatsoever if we do end up getting Mike Evans back like next week. Okay. Ashton, yes, I'm going to be doing team reviews. I'm sorry. I just wanted to get through the trade questions first, then we'll get over to the team reviews. Thing is, with the trade questions, we can get through so many of them so fast before people go to sleep. I think it's better for us to do the trade questions first and then the other stuff after. Now, Lazaro trading Judkins, Keenan, Pittman for Jonathan Taylor and DJ Moore. Okay. Judkins and Pittman for Jonathan Taylor. Give me Taylor. Keenan for DJ Moore. Give me Keenan. I think that Jonathan Taylor is in a completely different tier than anybody else here, so I'd be fine making this trade to get Taylor. Now, Nuclear Potato trading Jacobs, Cam Scat, Ladd McConkey, Jamar Chase for James Cook, Rashee Rice, and CeeDee Lamb. So Chase to Lamb, lateral move up to you. Jacobs to James Cook, lateral move up to you. Scat and Ladd versus Rashee Rice. Give me Rice. So this all comes down to your record. Can you wait on Rice? Can you wait on Lamb? Are you 5-0? If you're 5-0, give me the CeeDee Lamb, Rashee Rice side. If you're 4-1, give me that side as well. If you're 2-3, there's no way in hell you can make this trade. But if you are thinking about the playoff side's going to be the CeeDee Lamb one. Fire Freak trading Judkins for Jaden Daniels. I have Judkins ranked higher at this point. And you have Fields and Caleb? Yeah, I'd rather have Judkins over Caleb. I'm sorry, Judkins over Daniels and just play the matchups between your other two QBs. Matt trading ETN and Devontae Adams for Kamara and London. The running backs, I would rather have ETN, but they're not that far off. And then Adams versus London, I'd way rather have London. So I'd probably make this deal, especially with London being through his bye already. Now, CDAB's trading Scat and Marv for Brees. I would go ahead and not take Brees Hall. Like, again, Scat, you're getting Tyron Tracy back in the offense, possibly split in the backfield a bit. Brees, Braylon's not coming back anytime soon. But it looks like we just hit 900 likes in the stream, so let's send out another free question. Again, to get those free questions, all you got to do is go down, drop a like on the live stream to enter, and then drop your flockfantasy.com username in the chat. So if you win, I know who to send it over to. And if you wanted to get guaranteed free questions, you could always do so by taking advantage of the offer on Underdog Fantasy, where if you go over to Underdog Fantasy and use promo code FLOCK, you will get $100 added to your account after you play your first 5. And on top of that, you'll get free questions that you can ask in these live streams. As you can tell, I'm streaming every single day, answering a ton of free questions. They're pretty much from the people who signed up to Underdog Fantasy with code FLOCK. And you'll get a free Jalen Hurts pick, higher, lower, half a total yard for the game on Thursday. And Underdog Fantasy is available in almost every single state. But let's send this free question out to Just Duck. See if I can find you on the site, my friend. Just Duck. Just found you. Just sent you over a free trade question. Again, thank you so much for hanging out with us in this live stream. Now, D-Dot with our next one. Trading James Cook and Brian Thomas for Jacobs and Rashee Rice. Jacobs isn't that far off than James Cook for me, especially now that he's already gone through his bye. And I would way rather have Rashee Rice than Brian Thomas. So, yes, I would do that. Decent Platter trading Chase Brown and T. Higgins for JCM and Mike Evans. I think it's a fair deal. I think it's up to you. And I think it's really just going to come down to the Joe Flacco situation in Cincy. Now, I'll say with Flacco, he is a significant upgrade over Browning. But with that in mind, while Browning was horrendous, don't get me wrong, he may not have been the number one problem in Cincy. And the number one problem in Cincy may instead be the offensive line, which obviously it's the same offensive line in town. That has not changed. So I think this is your personal preference. I'm not going to be able to tell you enough, to be honest there. Now, Justin Radical trading Daniels and Rome for JSN and Patrick Mahomes. We have Fields at quarterback, wide receiver. You have no wide receivers. So I think, yeah, actually, no, it doesn't. Frankly, it doesn't matter. This is just an even swap. Rome's already through the bye. I would rather have Daniels over Mahomes the rest of the season. I'd rather have JSN over Rome. Can y'all please spam the chat? Is my brain just broken? Is this an easy call or is this just a 50-50 coin flip? What side would you rather have? Would you rather have Jaden Daniels and Rome Odunze or Mahomes and JSN? Just say left or right. The left side is the Rome side. The right side is the JSN side. Please let me know, what side would you prefer there? Like, am I losing my mind? Is this an easy call? Okay. We got left, right, 50-50, right, right, left, right, left, right, left, left, right, 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 left, 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 right, 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 right. So it does look like the majority of the people have it on the right side. For me, I think it's like a 50-50 call, but if the chat has it as JSN and Mahomes, we'll roll with the chat for that one. Now, K. Soliner trading St. Brown, Higgins, Pollard for Hubbard, Woody Marks, JSN, and Igbuka. You're going to go with the JSN and Igbuka side. We would way rather have Hubbard over Pollard. St. Brown, JSN aren't that far off. I'd rather have St. Brown, don't get me wrong, but Igbuka and T. Higgins, they're like 6 tiers between those players. So yeah, I think you go with JSN and Igbuka here. Noah Thomas, always happy to see it. Trading Debo, Nico, and Chubb for Chase Brown and Jettas. So running back upgrade, and you have enough wide receiver depth. Our wide receiver 4 will be DK Metcalf. So I think you'd make this move. Depth matters in your league, but you have a decent amount of it. Okay. Now, Uncle Bezos trading Jordan Mason for Derrick Henry in a dynasty league. We clearly need to nuke Derrick Henry in our dynasty ranks, but if you're a contending team, I think you do this. But obviously, Derrick Henry is trending towards the point of having literally 0 value in dynasty this offseason. Now, clutch box with our next one. 2 to Stafford. Give me Stafford, but in reality, it's a super flex league, so actually it matters. Kyron, Desharb, and Walker, clear downgrade. We pick up Diggs as well. What's our quarterback room? We have May and Allen, so realistically, the quarterback's not that big of a factor in this. I'd rather have Kyron Williams. I mean, if Kenneth Walker got sent out of Seattle, then at that point, like, obviously you can say you're going to have both Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet crushing to an extent where we are extremely excited about them. But realistically speaking, I mean, that's tough because you can't start them right now. Like, they're just eating into each other, splitting 50-50. So I'd rather have Kyron. Now, Diggs versus Brian Thomas. Maybe I am just keeping myself safe. Maybe I'm just trying not to overreact here. But please spam the chat. What side would you rather have between Stephon Diggs or Brian Thomas? Because I know most people are going to say Stephon Diggs. I would prefer Brian Thomas at this point. I have Diggs on my own team. But obviously, Diggs just looked great in prime time. And here's what I can do. I'll be willing. We got a lot of people saying flip a coin here. I'll put my money where my mouth is. I will offer Diggs for I'm going to offer Diggs for Brian Thomas in my league. Yeah, because I'd rather have Brian Thomas here. I'll throw on another piece to this too. We'll throw on Nick Chubb to it. See if. Okay, and let me message the guy. Okay, and also we have Mr. Avery Huffman reaching out for Scout. All right, y'all want to help me come up with the trade here? We just sent that first trade over to Nick. Here, you take Brian Thomas there, but I'm sorry. I just lost my first game this year. We fell to 4-1, so I'd like to make a move. Okay. So he wants Cam Scattaboo, and he has wide receivers. Let's actually just pull this up on the site, right? Okay. So here's my league on the site. Boom, boom, boom. I have Scat. I'm 4-1. Avery just lost Hampton. He's 3-2. Obviously, I don't really need Scat. He's my RB3. I have Barkley and Jacobs. I do need help at wide receiver. Stephon Diggs breaking out saves me a bit, but it's still not great. So he has at wide receiver Pittman, Devonta Smith, Terry McLaurin. So here's going to be the issue that I run into. And what we can do that's actually nice here is I can actually sort this by his rankings and see how he values these players, right? Which I know you can't do this about the... It's hilarious. He jumps dramatically in the league analyze. He still has Amari and Hampton RB14. What the hell are we doing here? But we can see how he's valuing the names in his league. So the issue is only wide receivers I would want to up tier to would be Rice and Chase. Here's what I may try doing. Sid read my mind. Says, Mason, try doing Scat and Diggs for Rice. I'm in 100% agreement with you. I'm going to send that offer over right now. Let's go ahead and let's get this in. I have two offers out right now where I'd be selling Stephon Diggs. One is I am selling Stephon Diggs and Cam Scattaboo for Rashee Rice. And two, I am selling Stephon Diggs and Nick Chubb for Brian Thomas. Okay. And I will... message them real quick. I'm sorry. I know we'll get back to y'all's teams in a second. Just wanted to detour with mine for a bit. Okay. Now let's move this back. Sorry. So yeah. This is what got me distracted. Yes, I would trade Stephon Diggs for Brian Thomas myself. I just sent that on offer. Now, Z Fran's trading Aaron Jones and McBride for JCM and Tet. So McBride to Tet, clear downgrade. Aaron Jones to JCM, clear upgrade. I think McBride's the best player in the deal. And you have no tight end at the moment. I would probably rather have the McBride side. 10 team, 2 wide receiver, 1 flex. So the depth's not going to matter much. Okay. Now, our next question is Judkins versus Garrett Wilson. I have them ranked effectively back to back. You are loaded at running back, and you could use the wide receiver depth piece. Actually, this is a half PPR format. With this being a half PPR format, I would rather have Judkins over Wilson. If it was a full PPR league, I was about to say for your team, give me Wilson. Now, Suddy trading CMC for Jacobs and Rome. This is McCaffrey. It's not close. I know your league depth is a requirement. I completely get it. I play with the same league settings as you do. I don't even need to look at your team. If you need depth, don't sell McCaffrey. Sell somebody else. And if you do sell McCaffrey, you need a way better price. CMC and Puka Nacua are in a tier in which you can only sell them if they are clear. It's a clear no-brainer upgrade. Only way. Now, T Spates with our next one. Non-PPR running backs are CMC, Henry, Javonte, JK. Wide receivers are Pickens, Rome, Egbuka, Diggs. We are 5-0. 5-0, I completely understand making this move. Realistically, JMO's never going to hit your lineup. I would just say I would try to get a better price if possible. If possible, because the thing is, it's not guaranteed Hampton's coming back in 4 weeks, right? If Hampton was coming back guaranteed in 4 weeks, I'd make that move. But you are taking on a lot of risk with your team there. Now, David is faster than Mason. Okay, hey, if we're going to go there, I will say 99% of the time I am only running slow for ultra marathons, at least over the past few years, right? I know we already went through my surgery story, so y'all don't need another personal story, but you're getting one regardless. Past few years, obviously, we trained for the 100-mile ultra. We trained for the Ironman. And I had started with like nothing at all endurance sports-wise. So I had started from like literally nothing. So what I did was I would run as far as I can every week, bike as far as I can every week, swim as far as I can every week, never caring about speed. But lately I've been actually one run a week, mixing in like essentially I sprint a mile at the end of it. And yesterday I ran 11 miles, then I sprinted 3 miles at the very end. And I had a pretty fast 5K. After 11 miles, it was a 20-minute 5K. It was like, not too bad, not too shabby. But I am not going to lie. Okay, so throwing this out here. If somebody shows up that's way faster than me, like obviously I can't do anything about it. But I'm going to try to win the 50-mile ultra marathon in Austin on November 1st. That's what I'm training for right now. We'll see if I can win it. Okay. But David is faster than Mason. My friends, show up to the Ladybird Ultra November 1st in Austin, Texas. I'll be happy to see. We are trading Josh Allen to down tier to Ted McMillan and Josh Jacobs to down tier to Chase Brown. So I will let you know. David says, Mason, this was a mistake. I meant Josh Jacobs for Ted and Chase Brown. Okay, I was going to say. I'm going to let you know one thing right now. You're not better at fantasy football than I am if you're making this deal. But looking at this, Jacobs for Chase Brown and Tet, I would rather have Jacobs. You'd have to be down bad with your depth. We have Bijan Jacobs already through their bye weeks. We have Rome through his bye week. We have Sutton. We have Myers, quality flex play. I'd rather have Josh Jacobs over Chase Brown and Tet at this point. Sebastian says I'm going there too. Are you really going to do the, if you are doing it, say what's up during the race. Come over to me before the start line. I don't know if you're trolling me. Yellow trading Dak, Judkins, Egbuka for Hurts and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Upgraded quarterback, upgraded wide receiver, and we're paying Judkins to get it done. I probably would do this. If you have you have enough running back production where I think you can do it. If Evans was out for the season, then maybe it'd be tougher, but Evans will eventually come back. Now, King B trading Montgomery and Genty for Matthew Stafford and Avante Adams. This is a one quarterback format. No, if it's a one quarterback format, Stafford, I know he's leading the league in passing, but with no rushing upside whatsoever, like it's not like he's anything more than a waiver wire play. So I'd way rather have Montgomery and Genty. Not even close. Now, Nezel's trading Pickens, JCM for Rome and Kittle. You're upgrading 2 spots. Pickens to Rome, long-term upgrade. JCM to Kittle, long-term upgrade. I would do it. Now, T. Pritch trading Achane and Adams for Puka Nacua. We're going to take Puka Nacua here again. I want to reiterate, if you can ever trade for Puka, if you can ever trade for CMC, you do it, almost regardless of the cost. Griffin Foster coming through. And neither of my trades have been rejected yet. Let me see if I have any messages about them. Trading Mahomes and Terry for Goff, Ollie, and Ted. Ollie Gordon's a 0 in this. We have Drake May at quarterback. So if you have May at quarterback, yeah, I think you go ahead. You get the upgraded Tet here and you play the matchups with Goff and May going into the future. Okay, Batmac trading Tet for Dowdle and the Big Q. Running back, we have Chase Brown, and that's it. So I am in 100% agreement. I like the idea of down tiering from Tet to Quentin Johnston and picking up another running back. I don't know if Rico Dowdle is who I want, primarily because if we are looking at Rico Dowdle himself, this is a player that could just be back to being a premium handcuff RB once Chuba Hubbard's in. Not a guarantee, but that is obviously in the range of outcomes here. Okay. Now, Cheddar with our next one. And I got to actually message Avery something real quick. Cheddar says, need to upgrade at running back. Sacrifice Bowers. Is it worth it? We have Kincaid. Oh, this is Dynasty. So one thing that we need to do is we need to play around with something real quick. We need to, obviously, in the overall rankings. It says Dynasty, but in reality, it looks like it's a redraft format. Wide receiver, we have Chase, Marv in the lineup. So you actually need some flexes too. I am okay with doing this if you are in a spot in which you have a losing record and we need points right now. Now, Monk trading Pollard and Puka for Gibbs and Brian Thomas. I'd rather have Puka over Gibbs and Brian Thomas. Again, I'll just copy and paste what I say every time. With Puka Nacua, you are looking at a tier, and it doesn't matter the cost almost. You have to go through. You have to get Puka CMC when you can. Please do not trade away Puka. The Oracle with our next one. I'm sorry. I'm in the middle of a trade negotiation. Says 3-2 versus 0-5 Shopping Lamb made this package or hold. Yeah, if you're 3-2, I'm fine trading AJ Brown and Derrick Henry to CeeDee Lamb. And realistically, The 0-5 team should be selling CD Lamb for literally whatever they can get. They should be selling Lamb to the highest bidder. So I'd go ahead. I would show them this clip. Tell them like, hey, you need to sell CD Lamb. You need to hopefully get a player that you can actually put in your lineup this week so you don't fall to 0-6. 0-5, you got like I would say you probably got like a 3% chance to make the playoffs. 4%, 5% chance to make the playoffs. Has to be under 10. Can't be higher than a 5% chance to make the playoffs if you're 0-5. You fall to 0-6, you're down at like a 1% chance to make it. Long story short, with my trade negotiations, it looks like both of them have been rejected. Now, Marine trading Derrick Henry to Monroe St. Brown for Jacobs and Rome Odunze. Derrick Henry to Rome, clear upgrade. St. Brown to Jacobs, clear downgrade. It's going to be up to you. I would prefer the Rome and Josh Jacobs side, especially as they've already been through their bye week, so you're going to get an extra game played from them. But again, every advice that I've ever given with Derrick Henry, and I love how I have to say that and I have to pretend to be humiliated about Derrick Henry, when in reality, if I said over the past 3 years, hey, don't draft him, old running back that doesn't catch the ball, there's a lot of downside risk. 3 years ago, he got injured. Last year, he crushed me. And this year, it looks like he's going to fail. Technically, I was horribly wrong last year. We may be going 2 out of 3 with Derrick Henry. Okay. Now, Mud trading Bucky and Barkley for Hampton and St. Brown. Let me confirm. Is this Dynasty? No, this is a redraft format. Redraft Barkley to Monroe St. Brown. Give me St. Brown. Bucky to Murray and Hampton. Give me Bucky. I'd probably rather have the Saquon Barkley and Bucky side in a redraft league. Now, Nobe trading Scat, Jefferson, Pearsall for Genty and Devonta Smith. Down tier from Jefferson to Genty, down tier from Cam Scat to Devonta Smith, and you're paying Ricky Pearsall to get it done. No, thank you. Keep Jefferson. Connor trading Diggs for Kamara. I would rather have Kamara than Diggs. Like, I don't know if I'd do it on my own team because I have 1,000 running backs and no receivers, but backfield news with our next one. Trading May for Daniels, clear upgrade. Pollard, Sean Tucker, not worth the roster spot. So here's the thing, man. Genty to Laporta is an upgrade. May to Daniels is an upgrade. Jamar, Chase, and Ashton Genty versus Puka Nacua. I may rather have Puka Nacua. So I think we go ahead. I think we probably take the Puka side. Now, Neesmith trading Ferg for JCM. I'd rather have Ferg. Like, I know you have George Kittle and Darren Waller, but realistically, if you're trading away Jake Ferguson, he's the tight end 1 in fantasy at this point. I think you got to get a better price. Not Verzi says, not sure because of Flacco. I have them ranked wide receiver 36, wide receiver 33. So I think it's a truly just coin flip, up to you. And then also Judy for T. I would way rather have T over Judy. But between T and Addison, again, I think that's a personal preference type deal. Now, CK Switch trading Rome and Judy for Higgins, Devonta Smith, and Cam Scat. Best player on this deal is Scat. How bad are you at running back? You have Bijan. We lost Hampton. So you have Carter. I would probably keep the best player in this deal. I would keep Rome Odunze. It's a 10-team, 2 wide receiver, 1 flex. So frankly, you just kind of want to have the best player here. Now, Fulton trading Achane and Waddle for Gibbs and London. Achane to Gibbs upgrade, Waddle to London upgrade. So yes, sir, I would do this. Okay. Now, Rudy sending Ginty to Achan upgrade. Egbuka to Judkins. Lateral move up to you, and we're paying Glad McConkey to get it done. What we have at wide receiver. Here's the thing. I don't think you can do this with the Terry McLaurin injury. If Terry McLaurin comes back and starts producing, then sure, we'll have enough wide receiver production to get this done. But with how it stands now, probably not. Okay. Now, our next one's going to South Florida Dog. Says, with my depth at running back, should we upgrade to quarterback to Drake May? Bo Nix to Drake May. Clear upgrade. JCM to Harvey. Clear downgrade. We have enough running back production, so I'm okay with you doing this. But the thing is, man, you got Justin Fields. So with the Fields rushing upside, it's not like May's an auto start here every week regardless. Like, you can kind of look at this. May this past week against Buffalo, do you really want to score 12 points? No, he played a great real-life game. Justin Fields played a horrible real-life game, yet managed to score 25.9. So I don't necessarily think you need a quarterback upgrade, but I understand if you want to do it. Like, you can afford it. I would just maybe try to get to a better quarterback. Okay. Now, Monstrous Tenant. I'm sorry I couldn't find you on the site, my guy. I have no idea why. Trading Jacobs for James Cook upgrade. So here's the thing. Obviously, you'd way rather have Egbuka over Garrett Wilson this week. And also, I think you can probably say this next week too. But in the long term, second half of the season, when you eventually have Mike Evans back, when eventually Chris Godwin is 100%, it may be a much tougher spot for me to tell you, yes, give me Egbuka over Garrett Wilson. So for the long term here, I think it's a personal preference type deal. Like, they're RB7, RB6, RB12, RB10. Wide receiver 12, wide receiver 10 in my rankings. But I understand doing this in the long term. You will get the extra game out of Josh Jacobs in comparison to James Cook, though. Now, Antonio trading St. Brown for Judkins and Jamar. We need help at running back dramatically with the Trey Benson injury. So, yes, I would do this. Now, Squiddy out again. This is Pearsall and Mason versus Henderson and Godwin. Long-term upgrade at running back. Lateral move at wide receiver. So, realistically, yeah, I think I do this deal. Again, with the Antonio Gibson injury and Ramadre fumbling again, if it's ever going to happen here with Trevion, now is the time. Okay. Now, Fantasy's Rig says I'm 2-3. They offered Henry / Godwin Shaheed. 2-3, I would sell Amari and Hampton for Derrick Henry. Get an extra 4 games out of Derrick Henry. Regular season still very much matters in your instance. So. Now, B. Walters trading Hampton, Rice, Nico for Barkley. Barkley is the best asset in this. But then we down tier from Rice to the receivers, and then we give up Hampton as well. Is this truly a 16-team league? So that's what the league analyzer is saying. So here's the thing. 16-team format, these wide receivers like Zay Flowers and Ladd McConkey are absolute must-start names. Your starting lineup right now, how do you have this team in a 16-teamer? Your starting lineup's Taylor Swift, Chase Brown in a flex, JSN, Nico, and then you have Rice in the long term, but it's a start 8 format. So I would say it's a very tough deal. But realistically, I understand you wanting to go with the Barkley side, getting the additional starters right now in a league where starters are very hard to come by because of the depth of it. But this is a super tough trade. If you were 4-1, if you were 5-0, I would opt to take the Amari and Hampton side. If this was a shallower format where starters would be easier to come by, like Ladd McConkey, Zay Flowers, then I would go with the best players like Rashee Rice. But with your league settings, I think you're fine trading for depth here. But it looks like we just hit 1,000 likes on this stream. So let's go ahead and let's send out some free questions. Again, if you want to win free questions, all you got to do to qualify will be drop a like on this live stream. And then drop your flockfantasy.com username in the chat. So if you win, I know who to send it to. And then obviously, if you wanted to get guaranteed free questions, you can do so by taking advantage of the offer that we have on Underdog Fantasy, where if you go over to Underdog Fantasy and use promo code FLOCK, you will get $100 added to your account after you play your first 5. And on top of that, you'll get free questions that you can ask in these live streams. And I'm live streaming every single day until Christmas. And you'll get a free Jalen Hurts pick, higher or lower half a total yard in the Thursday night game. But again, we had more people sign up to Underdog Fantasy with code FLOCK over the past 10 days than we pretty much have ever seen. Big reason is the promos by far and away the best we've ever had. Like $100 added to your account after you play your first 5 is insane. Which is also why I've been so annoying about this as of late, because I really do think y'all should take advantage. But let's see if we can find somebody out on the site to send over a free question to. This is going to be for C. Crick. I got to refresh this. This ain't working. C. Crick. Just found you and just sent you over a free trade question. Appreciate you hanging out with us in this live stream, my friend. Okay. Now, Comprehensive Drake trading Ferg, Dart for Kittle and Daniels. Yeah, I'd go Kittle and Daniels here, especially in a super flex league. No brainer. Zach trading Josh Allen for Bijan Robinson in a super flex. We have Caleb and May at quarterback. We lost Hampton. So I would say in a vacuum, probably not, but with your team, yes, you would trade Josh Allen for Bijan, especially it's nice having Bijan already through his bye, so you're going to get the extra game played. Now, Joy Boy J trading Barkley, Addison, Higgins for Henry, Mason, Rice, and Ladd. So it's a 12 team, 2 wide receiver, 1 flex. Right now, our starting lineup is Barkley and Michael Carter. Wide receiver, we have Worthy, Flowers, and then like Addison or Higgins in the flex. We get Rice here in the long term. Ladd would be possibly an upgrade over Flowers. I think I'm gonna opt to keep the best player here with Barkley. If you're really worried about the knee injury for Saquon Barkley, I understand you making this deal to off that risk over to Rashee. Like, obviously, we moved Saquon Barkley down our rest of season rankings. I had selected him at the 106 in my fantasy draft. We've moved him down to the 111. But still. Now, so should I make this trade? I desperately need a tight end. Also thinking of adding Pickens and asking for Pittman or potentially some combo. What are your thoughts? I think you ask for Pittman or potentially some combo. Do not trade Pickens for Pittman if that's what you're saying. So tight ends, we have Fannin. I would 100% sell Barkley for Brees and Trey McBride at this point. Like, realistically, Brees getting the massive bump with no Braylon. McBride still being the tight end one rest of season for me in fantasy. Trying to think if there's anything else to say with this. I don't think so. Let me send you over another free trade question voucher in case you have any follow-up here. But yeah, I wouldn't sell Pickens for like Pittman. And I wouldn't add anything to this deal for sure. Now, Zinn trading Adams and Hampton for Walker, Pickens, A.J. Brown. Adams to Pickens, lateral move up to you. You're trading Hampton for Kenneth Walker and A.J. Brown, 12-team start 8 format. I'd probably do this. Obviously, I wouldn't do this if Martin Hampton wasn't on the IR, but with Hampton on the IR, I think it's a safe play. Okay. Let's refresh this. Think we got to go over and check out some teams with the team reviews in a second, but nope, we have a couple people send in questions now. Cooper Boardson trading Rome to up tier to Chase and Marv for Herbert. We actually need the quarterback. Wide receiver left over, you'll have Chase, Ladd, Myers, Worthy, so you have plenty of depth. It's a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex. So yeah, we'll go and get Jamar Chase here. Now, Swirpy Nasty trading ETN for Jalen Warren. Give me ETN. Marv for Garrett Wilson. Give me Garrett Wilson. Looking at what we have at running back, your running back room's kind of garbage. So for that reason, I'd probably just keep ETN. Like, there's a chance that Gainwell really does eat into the workload for Warren. Now, Yams trading Brian Thomas, Dermicado, and Chig are literal zeros. You're trading Brian Thomas for Trey McBride. I'd way rather have McBride. McBride's outscoring him, and he's at tight end. Damian trading Jefferson for Pittman and Rice. A league where you actually need depth, we have Olave, Metcalf, Devonta Smith, Jefferson. So we have 4 startable receivers. We have ETN, Brees, 2 startable running backs. So you don't have a ton of depth here, so I understand making this deal. For me, I would still opt to go with Justin Jefferson. But again, I get it if you make it. It's a fair, I mean, it's an understandable trade. Okay. Now, let's refresh this. This is Advanced Laughter trading James Cook and DJ Moore for Judkins and Rome. Let's pull this up. Right now, our starting, it's a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex. What the hell are we doing roster and 3 tight ends? Cut Juwan Johnson. Our starting lineup, we have Jacobs, James Cook at running back. Wide receiver, we have Jefferson, Olave, and then in the flex, we have Michael Carter. After this, we'd have Jacobs and Judkins at RB. We'd have Jefferson and Rome, and then we'd probably have Michael Carter again at the flex. Or no, we'd have Olave instead. I think it's a fair deal, personal preference type trade. For me, I do think that James Cook is the best player in it, but obviously it looks to be a pretty large gap between Rome and DJ Moore at this point. Okay. But I think we should be able to pivot over and get to the team reviews now. So I appreciate everybody hanging out with us, being patient with me. I know we had a lot of trade questions to run through. And looking at those dynasty teams, we are going to save those for a dedicated dynasty live stream. But let me go ahead and move my camera over and run to the little boys' room and pee. We've been live for about 2.5 hours. So, yeah, I just got to pee. Be back in 1 second. All right, I am sorry for the hold up. Here, Death Vider says, like where my team is at, but debating on if I should try to move Scat and Debo to get Jacobs. He has Tracy and Terry, so thinking he may take it. I would make that deal for sure, especially with your league settings here being a 12-team, 2 wide receiver, 1 flex, half PPR format. And we are the number 1 team in this league when it comes to value. We are 3-2, but we are a very unlucky 3-2 because we're the number 1 team in this league in points for by a decent little margin here. Now, it's a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex. So, again, the depth's not going to matter that much, especially at the skill positions. We have Lamar, Justin Fields at quarterback. So, absolutely love where we're sitting here. We can start Fields over the next 2 weeks, then Lamar afterwards. Now, obviously, afterwards, we would be looking to go through and sell Justin Fields if we could find somebody that'd be excited to buy him. But that is going to be very dependent on if anybody's wanting to buy him. Then going over and looking at what we have at RB, we have Jahmyr Gibbs, Cam Scat, Jordan Mason, Aaron Jones. So realistically speaking, if you were to make a 2-for-1 deal where we were to sell the depth wide receiver and the depth running back for a singular position, I would probably opt to do it at running back as opposed to wide receiver. So I 100% like the idea of us going through and us selling Debo and Scat to get the running back. Because wide receiver, we have JSN, Garrett Wilson. Godwin looks to be viable in the long term. You have Travis Hunter here as well. I would love to see if we could send Dallas Goedert just for a depth wide receiver option, considering the fact that we have Jake Ferg. Like, especially if you were to sell like Debo and Scat for Josh Jacobs, right? Then at that point, I think that you would be missing a potential flex play that we could trust every single week. So after you were to make that trade, I would want to see if we could flip Dallas Goedert for a wide receiver, but realistically, that probably wouldn't be the case. And what you would probably have to wait for is you'd have to wait for Lamar to come back so we could flip Justin Fields instead. Is there anything else we could say with this? I love your team. You're number 1 in the league in points scored, number 1 in the league in value, according to the league analyzer. I love the trade that you're mentioning it. So I think that you are in a really good spot. I'm trying to think if there's anything else to say, but no, I like your trade. And I think at that point you try to flip the backup tight end, flip the backup. Quarterback, I think you're probably going to be able to sell Fields for just a depth wide receiver, but you're going to have to wait until after week 7. But let me send you over some free questions just in case there's anything else that you want to follow up with here, my friend. Okay. Now let's move this over to our next question. It's going to be from JP. Says, point per completion, 6-point passing touchdown. Lost neighbors after trading Jamar for him. I'm going to be 3-2, also dealing with the Hampton and Bowers injuries. I got 1 spot open. Should I pick up Caleb, Stafford, or Downs? Should I try to sell Njoku and take a shot at Loveland, Mason Taylor on the waiver wire? Thanks. Thank you, my friend. So we are 5th in the league analyzer when it comes to value. We've scored the 2nd most points in this league. Couple different things that are of note. With this being a point per completion, 6-point passing touchdown format, we are heavily incentivized to build around the quarterbacks that can lead the NFL in passing like Matthew Stafford. What we are less interested in would be the quarterbacks that get the majority of their value running the football, such as Jalen Hurts. So I would try to go through I mean, we don't even know who we have at quarterback. We have Herbert. I mean, Herbert right now, especially with the Amari Hampton injury, is looking like he's in a spot in which he could be at the very top of the league every single week in pass attempts. So that's actually like the perfect quarterback to have in a format like this. It's a 14-teamer, so the depth's going to matter a lot more. It's going to be difficult to pick up names off the waiver wire. However, with that being said, like our bench is great. We have Cam Scat, Amari Hampton. So losing Hampton obviously sucks. This is why our value is actually lower. Our value is lower rest of season than our points scored so far this year, just because losing Hampton, losing Neighbors absolutely kills us. But you have Michael Carter that we can play in the short term, so it's not the end of the world. If you can move Hampton to the IR and open up a roster spot, I would 100% be looking at picking up either Hassan Haskins or Kamani Vidal. I'd prefer Haskins between the two, but obviously we need the back end fill-in. I wouldn't bother picking up the quarterback instead of Herbert's. Like, I think you would prioritize picking up the running back instead. It's a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex league. We have Igbuka, Tet, Keenan, Pearsall, so completely fine here. Realistically, we're going to need to go through. We're going to need to start a wide receiver in the flex every week, and it's a full PPR format, so we can. And then tight end, we have Bowers in the long term and David Njoku at tight end. So I love your team. Obviously, your team would have been significantly better if you didn't have the Neighbors injury, if you didn't have the Amari Hampton injury. In that case, I would assume that not only would we be the second highest team when it comes to points scored, but I assume we'd be the most valuable team in this league as well. So I hate to say this. This is back-to-back teams where I'm not doing anything. I don't even think you pick up Mason Taylor for David Njoku, because realistically, you see David Njoku sit at a season-high snap, season-high targets. He's actually in a really good spot post Cedric Tillman injury, just given the fact they're running out more 2 tight end sets. So I really like your team for these league settings. I think you pick up Hassan Haskins. I don't even want to make a single trade. If you were a losing team, like if you were 1-4, we would be looking to sell Amari and Hampton, but here I don't think you have to worry about it. I wish I had more for you, my friend, but I think that you are in a really good spot as is. But I really appreciate you and really hope I was able to help you out in some way with this. I know you're always out here. Let me send you over some free questions just in case there's anything else that you ever want me to take a look at. Okay. Now let's move over to our next question. It's going to be from La Mando. It says, with Hampton out and Brian Thomas Jr. underperforming, I'm about to be 2-3. Please help. We are green eggs in Hampton. We are still second in this league in value despite the Hampton injury. And we are second in this league in points scored as well. It's a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex format. So quarterback, tight end, going to make up a very high percentage of our starting lineup output weekly. And we currently have Lamar Jackson and Trey McBride, QB 1, tight end 1 rest of season. Absolutely love to see it. Obviously, we need Justin Herbert to fill in for Lamar over the next 2 weeks. Completely fine. They're going to throw the ball a ton with no Hampton, no Najee. Looking at what we have with running back, we have CMC and Travis Etienne. So you still have a running back that you can play. I would say waiver wire wise, I would optimize our bench for running backs rather than wide receivers. It's a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex league. So there's no world in which you're ever going to be putting Troy Franklin into your starting lineup here. So realistically, I would want to go ahead. I would just cut Troy Franklin. I would pick up a Byshell Tootin instead. Or if you can't get Tootin, I would pick up Tootin, Kenneth Gainwell, or Hassan Haskins. One of those names. It's just frankly going to be up to you with who you prefer and also who you can get, right? But then if you pick up like Hassan Haskins and possibly have a short-term fill-in for Amari and Hampton as we go through the buys, which Travis Etienne has the week 8 bye. So he is going to be missing with Amari and Hampton on the IR. You can possibly throw Hassan Haskins in there and be just fine. And then wide receiver, we have Pickens, Brian Thomas, Flowers, Devonta Smith, Ricky Pearsall. Realistically, if you were able to make a 2-for-1 move where we sell a wide receiver with another one to just get an upgrade inside the starting lineup at that position, where you sell the depth wide receiver with Devonta Smith with Brian Thomas to go and try to find an upgrade to a better wide receiver one, then obviously we're all about it with your league settings, in which it's a 10-team, 2 wide receiver, 1 flex, because ultimately we really do want to open up some roster spots that we can hopefully actually pick up more running backs off the waiver wire than just that one name with like Hassan Haskins. So, but those trades are always much easier said than done, especially in your league. You're not going to find too many people that actually need to make a move like that. And then going over and looking at tight end, we have Trey McBride and Kyle Pitts. So realistically, if you could flip Kyle Pitts and a wide receiver like Brian Thomas, or Kyle Pitts and Zay Flowers in a 2-for-1 deal there to go get a wide receiver upgrade, that'd be great. Realistically, if you were in a double flex format, I would say, man, this sucks with this many injuries on a 2-3 team. I think you should be selling Amari and Hampton to get a viable running back in right now. But because this is a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex where the depth isn't going to matter that much, instead, I would probably opt to just go ahead and roll through the punches with these injuries. You're going to be just fine. Optimize the bottom end of your bench to hopefully find the next Rico Dowdle, find the next Rashad White. So I would drop Troy Franklin. I'd pick up Hassan Haskins. If you can't pick up him, we'd go with Tootin. We'd go with Kenneth Gainwell. I'd try to sell a wide receiver in a 2-for-1 deal to get an upgrade at that position, pick up another running back off waivers. And then obviously we try to sell Kyle Pitts and a wide receiver to go get a wide receiver upgrade to open that roster spot that way as well. But I really appreciate you, my guy. And let me go ahead and send you over some free questions just in case there's anything else that you want me to follow up with here. Now let's move over to our next one. That's going to be from Scenarius, longtime member of the flock, says, any recommendations for my team? I'm trying to sell crap, but people in my league don't value tight end that much. Thought I had a really good running back room a couple weeks ago. So we are now down in the middle of this league. In the league analyzer, we are 5th when it comes to future value. And honestly, we haven't scored a ton of points so far. We are actually 3rd to last with points scored. So we're kind of a lucky 2-3, to be honest. But we are 2-3 here, so we should be really concerned about short-term production. It's not the only thing that matters, but it is something. Looking at what we have at quarterback, we have Bo Nix and Kyler Murray. Neither are great. We can't play the matchups between these two guys weekly. While Kyler's been horrendous, like if you were to ever get a game in which he's going up against the Dallas Cowboys, the Cincinnati Bengals, you are putting him in your starting lineup. Looking over with the league settings, it's a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex format, so the depth's not going to matter much with the skill positions. Quarterback's going to make up a very high percentage of our starting lineup output weekly. Running back, we have Henry, Hampton, Jordan Mason. So frankly, we don't really have much running back depth here at all. You lost both Trey Benson and Amari to Hampton. And Jordan Mason looks like he may not be viable anymore with Aaron Jones coming back soon. Looking at wide receiver, we have Nico, Waddle, Ladd, Devonta Smith. So here's the thing. Obviously you already know, like, selling a tight end for a running back's plan A. And if your league mates aren't willing to trade for Tucker Kraft, I'm sorry. But what you may have to explore is the possibility of selling Tyler Warren. I mean, and I have Tyler Warren currently as my tight end 2 rest of season. I hate to say it, but let me sort this league by the teams that are worst at tight end and see who could possibly trade for him. This team, they don't really have. I mean, I would offer Tyler Warren and Jordan Mason to see if we can get to Ashton Genty. If they would accept it, we would. This team has Andrews and Loveland. They obviously could use Tyler Warren. I would offer them Tyler Warren, Amari, and Hampton for Kyron Williams. This team is Harold Fannin and Evan Ingram. I'd offer them Tyler Warren and Jordan Mason to get to Bucky Irving. This team has no running back whatsoever. They're cooked. This team is Kincaid. I mean, if they would sell you their Tyler Warren and Amari and Hampton for Saquon Barkley, it'd be a no-brainer. This team is Njoku and Darren Waller. If they would tell you Josh Jacobs for Tyler Warren and Amari Hampton, we would. But again, if you're telling us that we're not able to, we're not able to. But again, I understand like league mates not wanting to trade for like mid tight end ones, right? Like I understand you throwing Tucker Kraft out there on the trade block and them not respecting Tucker Kraft and giving you value for him. But trying to think. Yeah. I mean, if you could, I don't even know if we would be looking at moving one of the receivers because I don't know if you're likely to be able to sell them in a 2 wide receiver 1 flex. So I think you maybe have to move the needle and have to sell Tyler Warren to get that running back. But I really appreciate you. Let me go ahead and send you over some free questions, my guy, just in case you want to follow up with anything here. Again, I appreciate you always hanging out with us in this live stream. But let's move this over. So this was refunded by user. Perfect. Thank you, Joe. Let's go over to Maury Draco. It says, we are about to go 3-2. What trade should we make considering we have Hampton on the IR and Derrick Henry underperforming? Okay, so you're 3-2. So we're not only concerned about the short term here, right? We can look at a long-term mindset. We are 8th in this league when it comes to value. It's a 10-team, 2 wide receiver, 1 flex. So the skill positional depth's not going to matter much. So losing Amari and Hampton, I'm going to assume that it's not the end of the world for us. Now, I'll actually say I think that there are a multitude of different moves that we can make when it comes to the waiver wire that's going to make our team better immediately, such as us dropping Troy Franklin and picking up Matthew Golden, such as us dropping Dermicado and picking up the long-term upside of Travis Hunter. I think I would do that because it's not like your wide receiver room's great. It's not like we could sit here and go like, oh yeah, no matter what, we know that we have 4 wide receivers that are startable. No, you need to pick up some additional startable wide receivers in case we get an injury or in case you end up seeing I don't know. Because like Troy Franklin being your wide receiver 3, it's not going to cut it. Cut Dermicado, cut Franklin, pick up Matthew Golden, pick up Travis Hunter. Beyond that, I would consider picking up Kenneth Gainwell and dropping Kendre Miller, depending on what we have with the reports surrounding Jalen Warren. Looking at quarterback, we have Baker, Daniel Jones, so we're just fine there. We're fine with Trey McBride. We have Jacobs and Henry we can start at running back, so it's not the end of the world. It's like you just kind of have to figure out what we're doing in the flex and what we're doing with the depth, which I don't think it's to the point where you need to panic sell anybody because you are 3-2. Again, if you were 1-4, I'd say, man, you really got to go through. And actually, you're 4-1. You won this week. You're chilling. Yeah, 4-1. You're actually in a great spot where we can wait for Amari and Hampton to come back. If over the next 4 weeks we split, we go 2-2 and we're 6-3, then we get Hampton back. This team's amazing. So I would just go ahead. I would cut Franklin, cut Dermicado, pick up Golden, pick up Travis Hunter, and then I'll be chilling and not really doing anything after that. But I really appreciate you. and really hope that I was able to help you out in some way with this, my guy. And I'm going to go ahead and send you over some free questions, but I think you're going to be just fine here. And then Derrick Henry, I'm the world's #1 Derrick Henry hater, but at the same time, the dude's going to get Lamar back and the offense is going to be a hell of a lot better. Okay. Now let's move this over to CD's Nut says, I got offered Brock for Diggs. I mean, I have Stephon Diggs and I'd sell him for Brock Bowers in a literal heartbeat. What do you think of this and any other trades I can make? Well, I would make that deal right this second, even with you having Tucker Kraft. Like, you lost Britton Strange. You can move him to IR, cut him. It doesn't really matter. I would actually cut him because instead I would want to pick up Aaron Jones and put Aaron Jones on the IR. So cut Britton Strange, pick up Aaron Jones, move Aaron Jones to the IR. It's a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex format. We are loaded at wide receiver. So wide receiver depth's not going to matter too much for us. We're 4-1. We have the most valuable team in this league. Realistically speaking, you can afford to sell Stephon Diggs for the long-term value gain that you get with Brock Bowers. Quarterback, we have Fields, Jordan Love. Running back, we have Genty, Quinshawn, Trevion, Chase Brown, RJ Harvey. So we have the rookie running backs that will continue to get better. So here's the thing, man. You're a 4-1 team, right? What do we want to do on a 4-1 team? We want to optimize for long-term value rather than short-term production. What have you done on your team? You have 4 of your 5 running backs being rookies. We have Rashee Rice suspended, who will obviously be gaining in value over the next couple of weeks. We have CeeDee Lamb injured, who will be gaining in value over the next couple of weeks. So we have put ourselves in a really good spot here where there's literally, you have the best team in this league. There's nothing that I want to tell you to do right now. Like, selling Diggs for Bowers is a no-brainer. Then cutting Britton Strange and picking up Aaron Jones is also a great move. But then from that point, what we would probably look to do is just wait for this team to continue to get better. And then if you end up getting like a Trevion Henderson breakout where you're in a really good spot, then maybe at that point you could go ahead and you could look to sell like Quinshawn Judkins and Justin Fields and go get to like a true elite level quarterback like Allen or Lamar. But obviously we're not doing that right now because of all the injuries and because not all these bench options are reliable for us yet. So yeah, I love your team. Cut Strange, pick up Aaron Jones, sell Diggs for Bowers. Long-term, once these names are back, trade for a better quarterback. But you have the best team in the league and you're rolling here. Let me send you over some free questions just in case in the long term you do want to follow up with anything here. Okay. Now let's move this over to our next question. It's going to be from King Braid. Says 2-3. We lost Lamb, Connor, Neighbors, Hampton, Brock. We've made some moves to recover, so we are in one hell of a hole. But cannot catch a break. Thinking of trading CMC for a running back and receiver. A Jacobs and London type would also trade Brock. So here's why I'm initially hesitant to tell you to do this. This is a 10-team league. So a 10-team league, I'm going to assume that we can get by. And looking at your team, you are currently second in the league still with value. So our starting lineup right now, and also one thing is we are 2-3. We've scored 647 points. So 2-3 team, you're not completely screwed, right? And here's the thing, man. You can pick up good options off waivers. So obviously I'm assuming that Malik Neighbors is actually on your team. He's on the IR and he's not taking up a roster spot. But if Malik Neighbors was on your bench, for the love of God, cut Malik Neighbors. But anyway, kind of regardless, I would cut Malik Washington right this second, and I would pick up Calvin Ridley. I would cut Dermicado right this second, and I would pick up your call between Byshell Tootin and Hassan Haskins or Kendre Miller, or you can go with Kamani Vidal, right? But I would look at somebody like Byshell Tuden. I'd look at somebody like Hassan Haskins, et cetera, et cetera. Looking at us making those swaps, you're going to, and then you also may need to cut Cooper Kupp to pick up Kyle Pitts. But you make those pivots, your starting lineup this week. You have Josh Allen at quarterback, elite. We have Kyle Pitts at tight ends. We can get by with him. We have Christian McCaffrey, Jonathan Taylor at running back, wide receiver Brian Thomas, Xavier Worthy. Then we can put J-Mo and Ja'Cory Cross-Merritt in the flex spots and hope that we get a big spike from one of them. And the fact of the matter is, if you are working on your waiver wire pickups, you're going to be able to backfill. Like if this was a 14-team league, if this was even a 12-team format, then maybe we would go through and say, yeah, this freaking sucks. You may have to down tier from Jonathan Taylor and pick up that additional wide receiver starter. But I think if you have options like Ridley, Kyle Pitts on the waiver wire for you, you're going to win a lot of games by just having CMC and Jonathan Taylor on your team. Clearly, wide receiver needs help, but I think the way that we go about this is we wait until we get some of these injuries back, like Bowers, and then maybe by that point we can send like Ja'Cory Cross-Merritt if he has fully broken out, and a 2-for-1 deal with Xavier Worthy to go get an upgrade at wide receiver. Now, of course, we can't do that right now because we don't have the depth. But also, what I think the alternative could be is instead of down tiering from McCaffrey, if you have solid options on the waiver wire at quarterback like Daniel Jones, Jordan Love, you could send Josh Allen for an elite receiver or an elite running back. But I would do either one of those moves before I would sell CMC or sell Jonathan Taylor. I think it's you make the waiver wire pivots. If the waiver wire pivots don't work, then at that point you sell Allen for the running back or a receiver. I see you in the chat saying, are we scared CMC is getting hurt at all? So the thing with McCaffrey is I was worried, especially when he popped up on the injury report before the season started. But if they are deciding to get him almost 30 touches a game, the Niners know a hell of a lot more about the McCaffrey injury than I do. So if they're giving him 30 touches a game, I'm going to assume that they're not worried about him getting injured. So yeah. Again, plan A, waiver wire pivots. Plan B, you sell Josh Allen. But I think the waiver wire pivots should probably be enough, my guy. Between the running backs, I would go Hassan Haskins over Vidal myself. But I could 100% be wrong on that. I'm going to go ahead, send you over some additional free questions in the chat just in case you want to follow up with anything here. But yeah, please, if you have any other questions, you can just drop them in the chat right now, and I'd be happy to check it out for you. Okay. Yeah, thank you so much, my guy. I wish I had more for you, but I think you're going to be okay. I mean, if you have Jonathan Taylor and McCaffrey, you're in a great spot. Okay. Let's move this over to our next question. This is coming out from Savesio. Says, hey, Mason, huge fan here. Feel like I'm in a decent spot right now, but going to be 2-3 heading into week 6. What should we do moving forward? Okay, we are Meet Me at the London. Where's our team, huh? Am I blind? It's mostly okay. We are 9th in the league analyzer in value, so not in a great spot value-wise. It's a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex league. So I can tell you that immediately the first thing that I want to do here is I want to change the construction of our bench. 2 wide receiver, 1 flex league, where in my opinion, our weakest position is going to be running back. You really need to optimize for having high upside running backs on your bench. And instead, right now, we have Mark Andrews backing up Hunter Henry. I would go ahead. I would cut Andrews myself. We have Christian Kirk. We have Jalen Coker. I know Coker may be coming off the IR, but still. So for me, I think we can pick up 2 running backs off of waivers. If Coker's on the IR, then obviously we would say that Coker doesn't count here. But if Coker's on your bench, we would go ahead. We would sell. I'm sorry, we wouldn't sell. I don't know why I can't talk right now. We would drop Jalen Coker. We would drop Mark Andrews, and we would drop Christian Kirk. And we would pick up some combination of Hassan Haskins, Tyler Algier, Kamani Vidal. In reality, these are only like the 3 running backs that I think you need to pick up. So if you can't get these 3 names, then I'm probably not going to be telling you to drop Christian Kirk for like Ray Davis. I'm fine with you holding on to him there. But yeah, I think you make sure we're rostering more than 3 running backs. Honestly, we are just fine when it comes to quarterback. We can play the matchups between Caleb and Fields. We have bigger fish to fry than tight end with Hunter Henry. Hunter Henry's fine. It's not great, but he's fine. It's about how do we fix running back. We have Henry, Trevion, Jalen Warren, and then hopefully we can get Hassan Haskins and Tyler Algier just as depth pieces to try to find the next Rico Dowdle, to try to find the next Rashad White. Okay. Trying to think if there's anything else that we do trade-wise. Like trade-wise, you don't have any expendable pieces. Nobody trading for a quarterback. Nobody trading for Hunter Henry. Wide receiver, you only have 3 guys that are startable with London, Adams, and Marv. And you sell one of these receivers for a running back upgrade, then all of a sudden, yeah, our running back room is better, but our flex is probably worse. So realistically speaking, I think you just go ahead, you just make the waiver wire pivots. I don't think you can afford to sell a wide receiver here. You need to roster as many running backs as possible. And you drop Andrews, Jalen Coker. If he's on your bench, if he's on your IR, you leave him, Christian Kirk, and go pick up those top RBs. But yeah, you don't have any expendable value to trade. What you really need to hope for is you need to hope that we get a Trevion Henderson breakout soon with the Antonio Gibson injury. But let me go ahead and send you over some free questions just in case there's anything else that you want me to follow up with. And I'd be super happy to take a look at it for you, my friend. Okay. So let's move this over to our next question. It's going to be from Dilla. Says, we traded Igbuka for Rasheed before week 5. We lost Hampton, and now I'm screwed at running back. Should I take a value loss to get a startable running back or try to thug it out with someone like Woody at RB2? The bye weeks are also a killer the next few weeks, and I'm almost guaranteed an L the next 3. Appreciate everything you do. Appreciate you, my friend. So let's check this out. We are the 7th team in the league analyzer. We are 3-2. Scored 613 points. So we are the 6th team in the standings right now. It's a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex format. So skill positional depth's not going to matter that much. So it's not the end of the world. Don't get me wrong. It's not good. But it's not the end of the world losing Amari and Hampton the way it would be in a double flex league. We have the elite quarterback with Jaden Daniels, which I really like to have in a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex. Then going over and looking at tight end, we have Kelsey and David Njoku. So realistically, like, you're not going to be able to sell either one of these tight ends for anything. They're both too good to drop. So you're just probably leaving them as is. Then looking at wide receiver, we have Nico, we have Rome that we can jam every week. You already have Rome through the bye. Obviously, Nico dealing with the bye week right now. Rashee Rice is out. So right now we're starting Rome and Olave. We have Derrick Henry. Yeah, so you just need somebody to start this week. One thing that you could try doing is if we could find a team that would buy Travis Kelce and we just send Kelce for a startable wide receiver. I know you're not going to get anything crazy, but if you can send Travis Kelce for a wide receiver that you're okay putting in your flex spot, that'd be great. We can look at some of the teams that are the worst at tight end. This team has Andrews and Mason Taylor. If you could send them Kelce for Jordan Addison, it would be an absolute no-brainer. And obviously, we would sell Njoku for him as well. This team is Dalton Schultz. Hell, I would sell like David Njoku for Jamison Williams, just to give you that depth piece that we could put in our lineup over the next few weeks while we're on bye. This team has Kyle Pitts. They're probably chilling. They're not going to be trading for Kelce and Njoku, right? So, I mean, if you could essentially flip one of these tight ends for like Jamison Williams, give yourself a viable flex play, because I agree with you, this week you're kind of screwed. And then a week 7, you're going to get Rashee Rice back. Nico and Rome will be through their buys. So week 7, you'll have Nico, Rome, Rice in your starting lineup at wide receiver in the flex. You'll be in a much better off spot there. Rest of season, really. Where honestly, then at that point, what you could possibly look to do is you could possibly just try flipping Chris Olave for a startable running back. Obviously, you could say that you could make that move now. It's just, if you're selling Olave for a running back, right, you're going to assume that you're going to have to eat a points per game loss. Which, if we were looking at Olave as a flex play, we're not wanting to eat a points per game loss, flip him for a running back right now. So realistically, I would just wait on doing that until we have Rice back from the suspension, Nico and Rome back from the bye, especially if you're able to flip Kelce or Njoku just for a depth wide receiver like Jamison Williams. Then if you could flip Olave just for a random depth running back, somebody that will be startable, I think that can kind of navigate you over the next few weeks to survive. And in the long term, your team's chilling, man. In the long term, you have Nico Collins, Rome Odunze, Rashee Rice. You're going to be in a really good spot. And then in the short term, what I'm probably going to be looking to do is I'm probably going to just be making waiver wire pivots, trying to optimize for different running backs. Like, I would drop DJ Giddens and Kyle Monangai, who are just like the handcuff options. And instead, if you could pick up Hassan Haskins, where maybe he turns into something, pick up Tyler Algier. That way, in case none of those trades work out, at least in week 7, you potentially have somebody that you can start. Or maybe you drop DJ Giddens, Kyle Monangai, and pick up both Hassan Haskins and Kamani Vidal and just figure it out. But yeah, I think you make the waiver wire pivots at running back now. You try to sell the depth wide receiver for a depth tight end for a crappy depth receiver. Then next week, you try to sell Olave once Rice is back and Nico's through the bye for a crappy depth running back. But I really appreciate you and really hope I was able to help you out in some way with this, my friend. And again, thank you so much. Nicholas says, why can't we just buy start sit questions anymore? I can only quote unquote get vouchers, because if we add it where you can buy start sit questions, then I'd be live streaming for 24 hours a day and I wouldn't be able to answer them all. So I'm sorry, but yeah, we just like The reason the majority of the time you can't buy any questions from me on flockfantasy.com is just fact of the matter is I have, with the videos that we have to make, with the work I have to do on the website, I have about 3 to 5 hours a day that I can spend live streaming. And if I had questions where you can buy them open at all times, we would have probably realistically about 12 hours worth of questions submitted every day. It's just not possible. Now, Jonathan says, should I trade Javonte or Judkins for another wide receiver? Nico is one option. So I'll say we are the number one team in this league in terms of value. It's a 14-team, 2 wide receiver, 1 flex. So the depth is going to matter here a considerable amount. And we are crushing. We've scored the most points in this league. We are 4-1. So not only are we the most valuable team going into the future, we've been the best team so far. Looking at what we have at quarterback, we have Drake May. Realistically, we can start Drake May pretty much every week in a 14-team league. 10-team league, obviously, I'm not excited about it, but in a 14-team format, I am. We have Jackson Dart, QB2. I would opt to go with Lawrence over Dart myself. I know Dart has rushing upside, but also at the same time, when you have no Malik Neighbors, I just don't see the ceiling with the Giants. So I would drop Jackson Dart. I would pick up Trevor Lawrence. Going over to running back, this is where we are extremely strong. And before the Amari and Hampton injury, I would be all aboard. Let's send Javonte Williams and Jamison Williams, and let's go get an upgrade at wide receiver. But here is the thing. We are in a spot in which we can't make that move now because of the Amari and Hampton injury. Because you go ahead and you sell Javonte in a 2-for-1 deal to go get a better wide receiver, then all of a sudden it's like wide receiver may be better, but our flex spot just takes a hit. And I guess in the long term, you get Amari and Hampton. Here's the thing about it. 14-team league, we are going to assume that there are some teams in this league that are so down bad at running back that they would be willing to overpay by a dramatic amount. This team right now is Kenneth Walker, Byshell Tootin, Trey Benson, and Raheem Mostert. They're starting Byshell Tootin every week. So if you could go through and send them Javonte Williams for Igbuka, let's do it. This team is Jalen Warren, Jordan Mason, Isaiah Pacheco, Sean Tucker. They have Drake London. If you could send them Javonte Williams for Drake London, sure, let's do it. This team has Montgomery, Ja'Cory Cross-Cameron, and Algier. If we could send them, honestly, I don't even know what we would do with them. I think we leave them alone. They don't have a good enough wide receiver for us. This team's starting Nick Chubb or Justice Hill as their RB2. They don't have a good enough wide receiver for us, though, so we're leaving them alone. This team is okay. They have 2 guys they can throw out. This team is Achane, Chase Brown. That's about it. Probably leaving them alone. This team has 2 startable running backs. This team has some depth. This team has some depth. This team has some depth. So realistically, I think that your team is so strong. The only way that I am selling a running back here to go get a wide receiver upgrade while Amari and Hampton is injured is if somebody's willing to dramatically overpay. And then I don't think we make any waiver wire pivots outside of dropping Jackson Dart and picking up Trevor Lawrence. I wish I had more for you, my friend, but reality is you're 4-1, most points in the league, best team in the league, and we can just afford to wait until Amari and Hampton comes back. you have the anchor wide receiver with Puka. So it's not like you're worried here. And you're just beating your league mates down every single week at RB1, RB2 in the flex. Once Hampton comes back, then obviously we'd be a lot more willing to go out there and sell that running back. But honestly, if like Worthy keeps performing well, you could go ahead and you could instead opt to sell a running back for a true elite quarterback, depending on what happens in the next few weeks. But I don't think you need to make a move right now. But I really appreciate you and hope I was able to help you out in some way with this, my friend. Now, we have been live for over 3 hours. I know we have team reviews that we still need to get through, but I think we are probably going to be calling the live stream here because I still have to make a video for y'all tomorrow, and it is already about midnight on the EST. So your boy is going to have to get this video going ASAP so I can go to bed at some point tonight. But again, I'll be live streaming tomorrow, answering questions for 3+ hours as we always do. I'm live streaming every single day, answering fantasy football questions until Christmas. If you wanted to get some questions in, you're going to always just subscribe, and you can get free questions by taking advantage of the offer on Underdog Fantasy, where when you sign up to Underdog Fantasy using promo code FLOCK, you are going to get $100 added to your account after you play your first 5. And you'll get a free Jalen Hurts pick, higher, lower, half a total yard for the Thursday night game as well. You can find that link in the description, in the comment section. Underdog Fantasy is available in almost every single state. So yeah, take advantage. This is the best offer Underdog has ever had. That's why more people have used code FLOCK and Underdog in the past 10 days than I pretty much have ever seen them, just because everybody's taking advantage of that offer. And you'll get free questions for these live streams. Ashton says, can we redo our teams after waivers? They will actually be automatically updated whenever so if I pull up your team tomorrow after the waiver wire runs, I'll see who you have now. Like, unless it's a screenshot, those won't update. But if it's linked with the site, it will automatically update for me, and I'll see the newest version of your team, whether you made a trade, whether you made waiver wire moves or anything. But I really, really appreciate everyone here, and I really hope I get to see you out in the live stream tomorrow night.